Scoot, the Blazer War Team Yankee Fate Nation Nam and Great World podcast that tries to make sense of the weird and wonderful world of 50mm wargaming, with our tongues firmly in our cheeks, our hands flat to the ground, and our dice, more often than not, failing to shoot and scoot every episode. We invite you to join us on our many hobby misadventures on Facebook and on the blog at breakthroughassault.co.uk, and to shop online at Battlefield Hobbies, because Hammy can refight and win World War II in 30 minutes flat. No lie. True that. If nice dice are your advice, then be sure to check out Dice of War, our dice sponsor here at Shoot and Scoot. And if you need bunkers to bust or autobahns to go too fast on, then also head over to frontlineterrain.square.site, our awesome terrain sponsor.
Terrain.
Thank you very much. If you would like to contribute to this continued failed cross-check of our podcast, you can now also become a Patreon supporter by following the link on the Breakthrough Assault blog. Pay £1 a month for your chance to also become internet famous. I'm Eddie Fez-Turner, broadcasting from somewhere in the south of England. I'm joined by my co-host Duncan Half-Pint Nimrod Gosling.
There's a lot more water in these turrets than I first thought.
And Lee, payment upfront professional painter, Parnell.
So I'm going to start putting things on eBay as pro painting, where they're clearly just undercoated and maybe dry brushed.
Pro painted army that's half a platoon.
Come on, Eddie.
Welcome to episode 89, the one where we're blinded by the lights. Lee, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are talking about Internet Famous, or welcome our new patrons. Faces Bases, we'll talk about what we've been painting. News from the front, where you guys will tell us what you've been up to at Corrivalry. And then we will be looking at the command cards from Berlin Soviets, and then we'll go for events. So, Eddie, please welcome our new patrons.
Our new patrons, who we think we've already done, but we're going to do them again just to be sure, is Soren Peterson.
Guess who's back?
Guess who's back again.
I thought he was... He's not Azerbaijani, is he? That was that accent wasn't it?
Soren Peterson. What? Excuse me, I've got to go fix this utter derailment of the podcast. What?
You've gone all Borat. Jürgen Schmisch.
Oh, Jürgen Schmisch.
Yeah. Welcome to my podcast.
Oh, no. No, I mean, I wish he was Azerbaijani, because then maybe he wouldn't paint it as good. Just
maybe have more
the entirety
oil.
of the Azerbaijani hobby community there.
Sorry.
If you listen to this podcast in Azerbaijan, please do message us at fez@breakthroughassault.co.uk. Welcome back, Soren. Stop painting so nicely, please. I mean, no, it's great. That's awesome.
And we're still waiting for the furry mountain pigs to be on those Corrivalry bases. So.
The what?
Mm-hmm.
You went on Discord that night, were you? Yes.
Did the quiet words of the Virgin Mary come again?
Yeah.
So one of the benefits from being on our podcast, but sponsor. So actually, do the next guy, then we'll discuss it then. Actually, yeah.
Richard Steer, as in
the
cow.
male cow,
Mad Cow.
Yeah.
Richard Mad Cow Steer. Thank you very much. I mean, both these people are providing us with, well, and all of our existing patrons are providing us with the funds we need to capture this magic, obviously, that we create once every blue moon.
Could I just ask for a clarification? So, if someone was to suspend their membership to the Patreon and then sign up again almost instantly, they'd get a shout out every week or every time we record.
Duncan.
I mean, it's an efficient way of doing it, but sure.
This is why our memory's not great.
This is why we don't let you be a. We've talked about this, Duncan.
Just start trolling myself.
Yeah, but then I'll just get progressively worse at the name. So
that would be it. But you'd have to come up.
Duncan
Yeah,
Gooseman.
I just wondered. No, it's the German one. I've got to find that. I've got to find my wrestling name.
Oh, that was awesome. That was so good.
So I mean, that was like next level.
Peak.
We'll come on to that.
Peak
23.
Anyway,
so yes.
One of the benefits of being our patron is you get access to our lovely Discord, Montys Meat Grinder, where we can share your interest in various subjects, including Flames of War, but also we have little sub-Discords for wrestling, Formula One, other games from outside the Battlefront stable.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have a video, a voice chat /video, just do video as well.
The painting
we're offering a painting chat, yes. And the other night, it happened to be one of the busy nights. We had both Sorin, Mike Everest, Mike Robertson. I want to say someone else. I'm going to apologise for misremembering who it was. It might have been Jeff.
Martin?
I don't think Martin was on. Martin joined later. I think he was on at that point. Anyway,
Jeff.
so Mike Everest has fallen in love with Sorin's Gebirgsjäger to the point of actually.
Sorin.
Yeah, Sorin as well. He's having one of his man crushes.
Surprise! He's a pretty man.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Soren was saying about how he was doing sheep on the basis because he couldn't get hold of any 50mm goats. And he also said he also got pigs. He also got pigs in the pack, but he couldn't use them. And it was brilliant because Mike goes, well, I'm going to stop you there. Because actually you're going to find Italy was actually a furry mountain pig. And everyone goes, what? And Mike goes, yeah, no, Mike. Then Mike puts a photo up in the Discord of his hairy mountain pig that apparently is in the Italian Alps.
Hello, Mr. Everest. Welcome to Mastermind. Your chosen subject, specialist subject, is furry mountain animals of Southern Europe.
Is that just not like a name for a big chunky man with a beard? That likes being with other chunky men with beards.
I know, but now I want to do a super furry animals tribute band called Super Furry Mountain Pigs. So
Super furry mountain pig.
Super furry mountain pig. That's glorious.
If you don't know what super furry animals is, go ask your parents.
More average, more fur than the average mountain pig.
Yep. Spotify.
Favorite playlist: mountain animals.
Mountain animals. That's a completely different category.
If you're lucky, you get taxidermy pictures. If you're not, oh well.
You have to go to very specialist parts of the internet.
Yes. Is it this part of the evening? I wish to say hello to our GCHQ case handlers.
All I'm saying is dark web.
Dark web. Except when you turn the lights off.
Like it's Garth Marenghi's dark web, isn't it?
Come be, if you want to in on this, hard question your sanity. If you do, then come join our lovely little patrons.
Fun and frivolity for all the family.
Kind of Game of Thrones kind of way.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice day for a red wedding.
Spoilers.
Anyway, faces bases. So, Duncan, what have you been painting or tipping your water all over, as the case may be? Is this that wet blending I keep hearing talk about?
No, I hope it's not, because it's really frustrating if it is. No, I have painted another storm group for my Russians. Yep. So I've now got two storm groups. So I'm just doing the bases on them now. So that gets me Berlin ready.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with the Berlin pre-order because it's in phases again. So even the direct only stuff is in phases. So I've got to wait till everything's out before I can order anything. Boo!
They got to keep the hype train going somehow.
But is that the hype train? Like, surely the hype train would just be something else that you'd have to need to buy. It's the opposite of a hype train.
I mean, I'd
it's
imagine
a frustration train.
The sad thing is, I'd imagine all the stock is sitting in the warehouse.
I see.
Because why would you ship it separately?
It's not making it better.
One big shipping container from Malaysia. Yeah. So it's good. Yeah.
It could be worse. Okay. They could have replaced all their picking staff with robots and have the massive delays that Games Workshop's been
or sending out limited edition prints instead of transfer sheets.
What?
Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, someone ordered 3 or 4 copies of like a Night Lord's transfer sheet.
Yeah.
And Games Workshop sent them 5 copies of the limited print of Angron.
Nice.
That were numbered. And then they complained and they went, don't worry about it, we'll sort it out. And did exactly the same thing again. Right. So he ended up with like 10 limited edition for prints. And they said, can we send you the name and contact details for the nearest store manager so you can return the prints? And he went, no. You sent them to me. These are worth far more than transfer sheets. Unlucky. You can just hear this kind of silent gulp on the other end.
Oh no.
I'm getting fired, aren't I? But yeah, so they've been done, but they're looking quite spicy. I quite like the Berlin Red Banner rifles with the because you can have 3 storm groups if you really want.
Which
If you
is
really want
like
to
a
go
manic
mental.
amount of storm.
I mean, 2's bad enough. They are expensive. I think they're about 17 points.
So we need to
by the
get
time you start throwing
the
some
urban
stuff on.
board sorted out, don't we? So we
We
can
do.
refight some Stalingrad stuff, especially after the
Yeah.
we have ways of making you talk Stalingrad extravaganza.
Yes, that was quite an impressive amount of information that came my way.
That was very good. So and obviously a lot of those buildings will translate over to Berlin.
Berlin.
Ich bin ein
Berlin.
Berliner.
So, and the other thing I painted is my first Toldy company and Panzer IV platoon for my Hungarians.
You've just christened them,
mid-war.
haven't you?
I have. I've thrown a
Baptised.
large amount of water over them. I was thinking I can get those finished. That'd be really nice. But now they're soaking wet and I need to dry them with a hairdryer. So there is that. Unfortunate. I didn't paint these, but a bit of a shout out for Stuart Miniature Realms. He painted up some Stukas for me, so I've got both kinds of Stukas now available. So when I say he kindly painted some up for him, I mean I gave him like cash and he said, "All right, I'll paint these for you."
Yeah.
And I went, "Okay, thank you. Any chance he could get them done this year?" And he went, "Well, I'm fully booked for this year, but we'll see." But no, that was but I love the planes. I'm confident about painting some, but not others. And I think the Stukas were a bit.
But yeah,
They looked a bit scary to me.
Luftwaffe cannon schemes. So have you got like? But have you got all the Stukas in both like Eastern Front camo, but also Desert camo?
Not yet. No, they were all in the Eastern Front. Desert's coming, but I've got the cannons and the bombs.
Nice.
So I don't know why I bother getting cannons because the 14 points of nonsense.
Completeness. That's what.
It is. I actually had a look at the revised points when they got locked, hoping that they might have done something with them, and
no,
they had not. And then I looked at the Rudell card as well from mid-war. Do you remember how much he is on top of the cannon
Fruity
Stuka?
Rudy.
Is he in mid-war?
Mm-hmm. He is in mid-war.
Right.
I don't remember.
Any guesses? He's 6 points.
Oh my.
So you add them to his 14 points on the Stukas,
20,
and you get
20 points.
20 points. Do you know what he does? You get to re-roll 1 missed hit, and you get to re-roll 1 failed firepower check.
And come on like a 2+, right? Right.
Nope. No. He still just turns up.
Why?
Oh, it's just, I don't know. I just thought, oh, there we go.
Spreadsheet of lies.
Unlike you, Battlefront are not air power advocates.
Yes.
No, we'll get onto that later. But yeah, I'm liking the planes now. They're the answer to the question that no one's answering.
No one's asking, you mean?
No one's answering it. There's lots of questions about, how do you take out or how do you stop the SS King Tigers?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And there's a lot of silencio about that because you're like, oh, just flank them. Oh, right, okay, go on then.
Work for me.
See, I don't think airplanes are the answer because if you're anything like me, you're already within 8 inches by turn 2.
Yeah, but it keeps you honest.
Keeps
That's
me
the
honest.
thing.
No, I'm already driving towards you like a lunatic.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. Nothing can touch them from the front. I don't think that's historically accurate. But there we go.
I think it is historically accurate. I don't think, and someone's going to correct me on this, there's any record of a King Tiger being penetrated in the combat conditions from the front.
At all.
It's a huge amount of armor.
Wow. Okay.
Certainly on the Western Front. I'm pretty sure on the Eastern Front, but
I mean that's the kind of thing that their shortcomings are that they never got to the battlefields they needed, rather than.
But if there are a few intense tank at a time when your entire all resources are now owned by the Red Army.
Yep.
It's
See, I would love that. Could have been a fantastic Berlin command car when we come onto it. Low fuel. You can only move your King Tigers twice now. Oh, unlucky! Oh,
10-inch tactical. Yeah, make the most of it.
That's the bit's ridiculous.
Oh, and 2+ morale. Oh, yeah, it's a lot
tactical with a 2+ counter attack.
Isn't it 2+ cross as well? It's either 2 or 3. It quite comfortably crosses most terrain.
Comfortably numb.
Yeah, I feel like that some of those.
It's not a Churchill.
I feel like some of those cross checks are a bit wonky sometimes.
I do love a Churchill with a cross here.
What, as in over we go?
Automatic.
Yep.
I want to go there.
So that's been me. Oh, and I painted a Dark Angels Leviathan Dreadnought. There we go. That's the other thing I painted for Horus Heresy.
Nice.
There we go. Busy, as always.
Yeah, ticking over nicely. How's the commission going, Lee?
Wonderful. So I'm just nearly finished on the second tranche of the commission by doing the German armour and the guns that go with the gun teams already painted. So I finished off the Grenadier platoon and the Pack 40 and Pack 36 gun crews. So now I'm doing the Pack 36 and the Pack 40 plus 4 Panzer IVs and 3 Panther Vesta Panthers. I'm guessing they're Panther Ds, but I've been asked to paint them in an ambush scheme like a Panther G.
Oh.
And just on a smile, because that's what the customer asked for.
I don't think Zavesta do a Panther D.
Well, I know it's certainly not a Panther G, but I'm not sure what Panther it is. I think it's the early pattern.
So
it might be an A.
Letter.
Because D is the first one, then it's A, and then it's
D's the training one. It has a vertical MG post box letterbox slot.
That's what it's got. Yeah.
Yeah. So our D's then.
Yeah. It hasn't got the ball armor.
It doesn't have the ball mount. No, it's weird. It literally just you poke the MG out and it opens up like a letterbox.
I want to say early A's the same thing. They got retrofitted with ball armor later. I don't think it's as flat as saying only D's had it. I think
it's the angle of the rear hull over the rear track section is a difference as well. One of them is flat. The other one has a slight downgrade, but it's
got a slight downgrade. So whichever one has a slight downgrade,
I think they've probably got A's.
There they are, in Panther A's. Okay, early production Panther A's. That's what I'm doing, but painted like cheese.
Well, I mean, paint's paint.
But I am quite happy how to chip it. I'm trying to do that 2-stage chipping where you go with a light colour, and then you fill it in with the black brown to get the rusty impact. But it's worked really well on the Panzers because they're basically just painted plain Dunkelgelb with a regular green stripes on them. Mm. It's worked less well on the much busier ambush scheme. I think it's just because, like I say, the ambush scheme is busier, so it tends to get lost into it more. But yeah, it's going well. I should have them finished by the end of the month, and I'll get them out, do something else, and I've got to play the last tranche, which is the paratroops to do.
Ooh.
I'm definitely saying no to anything else that might get requested.
So
I'm done. That's it. I got my pro painter status.
And that's it.
I'm retiring.
Retiring undefeated. So the Zavesta box I'm looking at now is that Panzer V Ast a Panther. On the box art, that's blatantly a G model because it's got the ball turret.
Yeah,
it's got the sloping back of the rear armor above the rear tracks. If you click on the actual model, then it's got the letterbox opening and and then flat back.
So
yeah.
What?
Well, that's like when they released the Cruiser Tank Crusader, which is actually an A13.
Yeah.
And then Daimler Armour Car, which is a Dingo.
Oh, Daimler Dingo.
Other than that.
Well, yeah, that one's less of a stretch, but calling A13 Crusader was somewhat of a...
Oh, Panthers. Why are you so crap?
Side armor 5.
Just, ugh.
It's literally all it is. To be honest, it's not even that. It's the cost. Yeah. It's just points. Mm-hmm. It's just pure points.
Yeah, over pointed for what they do. It's not that they don't do what they're not effective tanks. They're just over pointed for what they do.
Well, this is it. They and the other thing is that they don't really operate on a table that's only 6 foot by 4 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need to be able to shoot for as long as possible, as far as possible.
Use all 40 inches of your range. Yeah.
Exactly. Or all 40 inches all at once. Yeah.
God damn it, Lee. Those look really nice.
Thank you.
He's quite a good painter. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, well, he's professional, you know.
Oh, a professional.
We've got paid money.
Does that mean I was going to say, does he do other things for money as well?
I mean, we've managed to make it 89 episodes, keeping our clean rating on iTunes.
Yeah. He can suck a golf ball through a garden hose for £3.50.
Take the train off a trailer hitch.
Yeah, exactly. Where's my green hat gone? I'll be needing that later. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the point.
So yeah, Eddie, what have you been painting?
Eddie, what have you been painting apart from the town red? Yeah,
I'm trying to think actually.
Did you pay anything for Corrivalry
Necromunda?
last minute?
No, it's been a bit weird because Corrivalry, I took my ETC list basically again.
Yeah, half that. It was a half page, wasn't it? Do you need to finish it off?
No, it was pretty good.
Okay.
I think I found the one tyre that I missed on an armoured car and painted that. I just managed to miss one wheel. It was just okay. No, I don't think I've actually, because I did a massive load of Lord of the Rings stuff.
Did you not do what you always do with your competition armies and say you got it to a certain standard and then you said you'll come back to it?
I mean, that's just life, though, isn't it? That's my approach to being an adult, is I get things to a certain standard and so I come back to them. No, I think the only thing hobby wise I've done is build some of my dungeon bowl. Yeah.
Dungeon bowl,
super cool.
What's the difference?
It's in a dungeon.
Apart from one's in a dungeon. Yeah. Is it still got all the treasure chests and stuff? You open, you have to find the ball and all that.
And mixed teams.
It's American football, but fantasy. Yeah, so the teams are done by wizard colleges, so they've mixed up all of the different Warhammer races, and also the Warhammer. Sorry, not the Warhammer races, but the different teams. So you can't have Skaven big rat ogres with the normal Skaven. So they've actually split up the different, not just the teams, but the unit types.
Okay.
Team players, types of players in there. So very, very spoiled. I bought Tacey a lovely Valentine's Day card.
Did she like her new windscreen wipers as well from Shell?
I thought I was doing all right because I went and got a nice fancy bespoke one from
windscreen wipers
from the Tinterweb. And and she ended up giving me this amazing Lego picture frame, which has some of our romantic wedding pictures on, but in Lego blocks that you build up to form a little Lego wall. That was fun, and just dungeon bowl, just a massive hobby toy.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I know. So we went out to a fancy dinner on Valentine's Day night, and she didn't pay a thing. But hobby-wise, all I've done is built some dwarves. That's it. It's been a bit lacking.
Oh dear. Never mind.
But hey,
onwards and upwards.
I mean, still, it's only half a month in. Month and a half in.
Half a month in. It is February, right?
I
think it's February. Jeez, what is going on with this year?
It is, mid-February. So we just passed the wargaming milestone. It's Corrivalry, which brings us quite nicely on to news from the front.
Oh yeah, we played some games there, didn't we, Dunk?
Did we? When was that? Oh yeah, Corrivalry. Yes. I thought you meant generally. I was going to say no, we haven't. You bloody
It's
liar.
been a somewhat fallow month for actually wargaming outside Corrivalry, to be honest, especially for me. But you guys at least got a bunch of games in, so.
We did. I've documented the most important stats from all of my games. I don't know about you, Eddie, but I know exactly how many things my Sturmovic's killed in every single game, and what turns they turned up. So I've got all the stats for that because that's important. So that's science, right?
That is important.
Statistical science, yeah.
So it's all the sciences all at once. So yeah, that was quite interesting.
So you took.
I think overall, it was.
You took the Soviets.
I did. I was the only Soviet player.
Hobby hipster, bro.
That made me.
You won best Soviet general by default, which is always a good start.
No, he lost best Soviet general.
No. It was just like in real life. There was only one Soviet general left, Everyone else was in a gulag.
Yeah.
And then Zhukov turned up about halfway through and took over. Showed me how to do things properly.
But
no, I thought that was. I think that was quite quite an interesting stat. Just that just shows, I think, how on their arse the Soviets really are, in terms of gameplay, or the perception of them is. Let's put it that way. That no one wants to bring them.
Yeah, I mean, the perception is right because they are still very hard.
They're just a bit. They're just a tiny bit expensive, I think, for what they do. I think the problem is that they don't get any of the nice, cheap ways to do things that other armies do. So everything's a bit expensive, and you kind of run out of points. But I was very happy with them. I thoroughly enjoyed playing Soviets all the way through.
Cool. And you.
I was waiting for Eddie to say something, but he's
no, well, sorry. Yeah.
We know what you took already with your cheese list. Apparently the last Ride of the Rohirrim for the the ETC list.
Not because you're always right, Duncan. You should know this by now.
Why? Where's it going?
You said, you'll find a reason to keep. You'll come back to them. You'll come back to it. You'll figure something out. And I realised that in all the games that I've been playing with my Brit Partisan Recce Crocodile Cheesemonger list.
Yeah, as also known as Le Fromage Baguette.
Yeah, the Flaming Fromage Baguette.
Oh, this one's got cranberry joy.
This one's got teeth in it. I've missed a massive trick, and I'm actually quite upset that the level of games I've been playing, I've missed this. So the missions, it's playing the list with a maneuver stance, meaning you have to attack and sometimes defend, which it can do quite happily, and it's quite a good set of missions for that list.
Mm-hmm.
On the attacking missions, there've been times where the infantry are partisans, so one platoon's hit on 4s, but then also has crap courage to motivate to unpin if he gets hit by artillery.
Yeah,
and another platoon is hit on 3s, but is fearless for rallying. And half the time, they would struggle to get close. When I'm on the attack, to cross the open ground to get there.
Right.
And then, so in the list, I have 4 units of Recce and a Recce HQ. Mm-hmm. 2 of those units are universal carriers who can quite happily cross-country dash 20 inches and then follow me at the other end.
Did you think about putting them in them?
And now I've just realised that they're tank teams. So, of course, each of those universal carriers can carry 3 passengers. So I could have put both my platoons of infantry on my bloody scouting hit on 4.
I remember you asking me this the other night. Was that?
Well, that's when it came to me, and I'm just like, I've been so stupid. How many games would it have been great?
Have they actually got carry capacity though?
No.
On the unit?
Because passengers ride on tanks. Any armoured tank team can carry 3 infantry as passengers. The downside is, if anything hits the tank team, it also hits every passenger it has. However, the infantry platoon is hit on 3s. The universal carriers are hit on 4s and scout. So if they're in terrain, which they're going to be, otherwise you wouldn't do it, they're hit on 6s. And at that point, you kind of go, yes, okay, artillery still sucks. However, I've now made my infantry dash move 20.
Yeah, and you still get your full save. So
you still get a free up save against it.
If you take a hit, your save is no worse than if you've been walking across the field.
Yeah, I mean the difference being is
your hit on's better. I'm fully agreeing with what you're saying here, by the way.
Yeah. No, I get that, but against artillery, you're hit on 4s, and every successful 4 gets them 3 automatic hits.
Well, that's true.
That's the downside.
Yeah.
because they only had to hit the one tank team to hit 3 of your infantry stands. However, yeah, I just can't believe I've missed it.
That seems really good.
And it's totally gamey. It's totally ETC nonsense because it is. Why does having a load of guys hanging off the back of a universal carrier still give it scout? But wording the rules, you're shooting the tank team. The tank team is hit on 4s with scout. So,
okay,
I kind of want to give it a swing with that in as well, because I think that might, in the games where I didn't get anywhere, that might have been a big factor in,
which we'll come on to.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes, we will.
Eddie and I might have played each other.
Yeah, I mean that would have made a huge difference in that game as well.
Well, I mean, I at the end of day one, I was rooting for you guys. You're both looking quite good, but yeah, right. So, talk about your games, guys.
So,
talk about your first game.
Yeah, so Corrivalry was 100 points with 40 point swap because the missions are dictated. And one of the things I do like, the missions are dictated by the table. So you get to the table with your opponent, and the terrain has been set out for a mission.
Freedom.
The mission's on the table. That's the mission you're playing. Determining the attacker or defender is done by your formation command teams. So if your formation command team is just tank teams, you score 2 points for being the attacker. If you have a tank and an infantry team, so like an armoured, rifle unit with a half track and a rifle stand, that's 1 point. And then if you are infantry at 0. So whoever has the most points in their force is the attacker. That makes sense. It only really matters if you basically tanks attack mech, attack infantry, like the old school version 3. It only really matters if you're in more than one formation. Not a lot of people did, so it didn't really come up. So there are times where you could find yourself on a mission that has deep reserves with a tank force defending against another tank force, because if you tied, you rolled off for the attacker, which is exactly what happened in my turn 1. I was against, obviously it's another cheesy cheesy thing in that, yes, my auto attacking tank team of 1 Daimler car versus Panthers, and it's a roll off for who attacks. And then that meant that I was attacking against a German Panther company, and he was defending with deep reserves, which meant he had on the board a platoon of 3 Panthers, 2 Whirlwinds, and a rifle company. Rifle platoon, and that was it against the entirety of my force.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, this is the point where I realized I messed up, because what I did was I was worried about facing other King Tigers. So I focused on the King Tigers and said, well, at that point, I'll drop, I dropped the my mortars, I dropped the crocodiles, I dropped the Averies, and I put in Typhoons.
Right.
Because I was like, well, and a platoon of Comets.
Mm-hmm.
With the idea being, if I'm against King Tigers, that would give me a fast-moving reserve that can actually do something against tanks rather than
you had Comets, did you?
Yeah, I had my Comets in my B list.
Oh, right, cool.
What that actually did was reduced all of my... I had no templates.
Yeah.
Which you only realised,
when I was deploying turn 1, going, this is really stupid. This is the only template I have is Typhoons. Oh, God, if I have to dig out infantry, I'm screwed.
Well, you're not screwed. You still
I haven't.
Crocodiles.
Crocodiles in reserve.
Oh, no,
So
they've come out,
I've been them off to get the Comets in. Like, I literally dropped... I was so focused on Tigers, I dropped all of my templates. I know, it was just a stupid... I only played it that one time against the Panthers, where I knew I needed the HE. Not HE, the AT. So, ended up playing, and it was a lengthways mission. I should have written it down because I can't remember it now because it's been more than 5 minutes. But essentially, the guy I was playing against is a really nice guy. Really, played lots of games. But we discussed afterwards, he'd already given up. Because in his head, with his Panther company, if he had deep reserves, he'd lose the game. So he deployed really defensively and left one of the objectives that I placed out in the open totally unguarded. So of course, in my turn 1, I'm like, well, I'm just going to dash forward and follow me and have 3 recce platoons sat on the objective.
Mm-hmm.
So at the start of my turn 2, I'm contesting.
And this is a game where you have to wait to turn 6 to win, I presume.
No.
Okay.
So I checked. I said, "Are the objectives? You know the objectives are alive." Yeah, I know the objectives are alive because he deployed his infantry on the back objective. He deployed everything at the back of the board. So there's nothing he could really do to move forward and contest it. But that's because in his head he'd already quit. He was like, "Oh, why drag it out?" So essentially, I got an 8-1 on turn 2 because I was on the objective. Typhoons came in, bailed out a Panther. He killed 2 M10s with the Panthers, and then that was it. That was the game was over before it even sort of begun. So it's, I pointed out the obvious mistake. I said, "Are you sure? Are you aware that the objectives are live? Are you aware that I can move this far?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then had given up. So
it's a really weird mindset on your first game of the tournament. I get what. All right, yes, you got the undriable side thing of having reserves, but reserves.
I know. I pointed out if you deployed the infantry there, you've got. He also wasted his minefields on the other flank. In a big line that I could just drive around.
Oh.
So it's just a case of he hadn't really thought about what he was doing and was just there to roll dice and have fun, I think.
This is fine. That's my mindset to these things, yeah.
The game was over, and then I discussed, this is how I would do it. And he said, I thought about that, but I didn't want to do it. I was like, okay. So instead we played, oh God, what is it? The World War II Quiggling Games board game.
Oh, the board game you were playing with Hammy.
I can't remember the name.
Quartermaster General?
That's the one. Yeah, so then we all got collectively schooled by Hammy at Quartermaster General because he's very good.
I can see him being a wizard.
Yeah.
So that sounds like his kind of game.
It is his kind of game. It's an amazing game. It reminded me how much I loved it. So we played that in 25 minutes. He wouldn't let me do I played Germany, and as we were losing, just before we lost, I was like, right, I'm going to play this to build a submarine in the North Sea, and then I'm going to sail it to Argentina. It's like, that's not a card, is it? I said, it's written in crayon, but does it count?
It's signed Goebbels, yeah.
So
Carlos Goebbels.
Quartermaster General is absolutely fantastic. We need to play it more.
I never ever played. I know of it. I never ever played it.
Oh my God, it's so good, and it boils right back to the core crux of what is the World War II, and it is logistics.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got these amazing things. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to attack through Ukraine with Germany. I was going to have got this big, Eastern Front card, special card. I attack 3 times, and then Hammy's like, oh, you see this special response card I played earlier? Flips it over. Stalingrad. Any German attack in Ukraine is automatically defeated. Oh, well, that doesn't work. Oh, crap. And then it's all about supply and logistics. You had these really cool bits and pieces of flavour thrown in there to do things like that. Like I built the Atlantic Wall in France, which meant that the Allies had to burn extra cards to attack. So, of course, they didn't wait. They didn't do it until they knew they could roll in. They built up enough of a lead they could roll in and capture France and then ask the victory points that way. Such a good game. But yeah, that was my turn 1, game 1, 8-1 victory. Yeah, followed by promptly losing the entire war as the Germans. Well, exactly.
If you're going to do it,
Duncan, what did you have?
I played a German recce company.
Oh.
And I can't remember what the scenario was because all the things I did write down, I didn't write that down.
Yeah, what turn your airplanes turned up.
I know what time my airplanes turned up. I know all of that nonsense. Couldn't tell you what the scenario was now, which is, again, genius. But this was a classic German recce company. So I was playing Hugo, who I think was there with his son. And they only play each other on Tabletop Commanders. This was their first sort of... that reminds me, I've got to drop him an email. This is their first sort of tournament or event for Flames of War, and he brought a classic 250 recce platoon. So I think the problem he was going to have over the weekend was that his highest anti-tank was 4 Pack 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit creaky by that point.
Yeah.
He had an awful lot of machine guns, which was terrifying for my infantry-based army. But because, like you said, the scenarios were the attack and defender was set up by what you were running. I was defending with my infantry, so it wasn't quite as bad. So he just didn't really have the mass or anything to actually punch through my infantry. So it was one of the I can't remember the scenario, but it was one of the ones where if your opponent isn't within 6 of one of the objectives at the end of your turn 6, it's a loss.
Yes.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
A lot of the attack and defender ones are like that. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's the first time I ever got that because he just didn't. Those recce platoons, they put out so many MGs, they can pin stuff, but it's just very hard to even get into assault, especially the bigger Soviet platoons with those recce platoons. It wasn't really conducive. I mean, even my 100mm guns were, they were resorting to just firing at half tracks and stuff, which was slightly hilarious. He had 3 Panthers that were hiding behind a building because they were like, no, this isn't good. And in this game, the Sturmoviks turned up on turn 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they bailed 3 Vesps over the course of the game and destroyed one of them. So they just kept his artillery occupied.
You say that, but considering they came on for like 4 turns, this didn't seem to sound like a particularly great kill rate.
No, it's because I was cannoning them. So I was just cannoning the Vesps and making him try and get back in them because he'd taken They weren't SS, but they were still getting in on 3. But what I was trying to do is I was very conscious that was his biggest, his easiest way, if you like, of digging my infantry out was just to hit it with Vesp bombardments. So even if I could keep one of them bailed out, he was rerolling hits all of a sudden because there's only 3 guns. Mm-hmm. So it actually did make it doesn't sound like a lot, but it was intensely annoying, and it meant his Panthers also didn't feel like they could come out and play. They were kind of always near some terrain just to make sure that they had that extra.
There is a thing about
range in for
the effect of aircraft on your opponent more than the actual damage they do.
So in that one, I still think as well the artillery for me. So armored artillery is a bit of a bugbear of the Soviet infantry. So being able to just influence it and potentially do something against it is quite helpful. I mean, the other thing you didn't really have an answer to when they did turn up, because I did have reserves in this game, even though I can't remember the scenario. I keep saying that a lot. I took my IS-85s and a Pack 40. I kind of just laughed at the Pack 40s. You're firing at me, are you? Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I'm front armor 11 at range. So they didn't even really play ball in that way. It just was a bit. It was a bridge too far, I think, for the poor recce. So I won that 8-1 because again, I don't really have too many small platoons that you can chip away at and get that extra point. So yeah, that put me in a sort of a nosebleed position. I didn't really know what to do with myself at that point.
And it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it really was.
The funny thing was, when you both got 8-1s, I joked you ended up playing each other. And what was the second game?
Yep, we played each other
after all that time. Yeah. And this one was I was attacking because you were infantry. You were. And I was obviously tanks, quote unquote. And this was breakthrough or counterattack. It's one of the ones. I was going diagonally from one side. You were on.
I won't say it's counterattack. I'm pretty sure I asked when you said it was counterattack.
Yes, because your reserves were coming on the back end. No, my reserves were coming on the back end.
Yeah.
And it was just an absolute horde of infantry lined across the board. And I had my Avries and Crocs in reserve.
Yeah, they came on the objective, didn't they?
Late on in the game because it took forever to roll the dice. But I managed to get some cheeky assaults in.
You
Which
did.
the apex predator of the universal carrier, over the course of 3 turns, 1 platoon, by managing to get into the side arc of your 100mm guns, just rolled up the whole platoon, really, didn't it?
It killed 3 out of the 4 guns,
Yeah.
because apparently motivating on a 3 with a reroll
Well, it is
is
for
really
you, Duncan, when
hard.
you roll double ones twice. I got very lucky.
Let's not get help, that's for
I was
sure.
like,
Very,
come on
very
now.
lucky with that, because it was just like, this is a Hail Mary to try and clear you out, because you basically pinned me in the corner quite successfully, and with your huge artillery, all those tubes just raining in shot. I mean, you obliterated one
Well,
of my infantry platoons in a single round of bombardment, didn't you?
I think I took 5 stands
5
off,
stands of
I think the
the
2...
9, yeah.
Yeah. The 2 infantry platoons were getting hit by the 6 tubes of 120 mil mortar. So they were re-rolling. They're re-rolling misses, and then the Sturmovix also came in. They fired their rockets because you had them in a big sort of flanking column almost, didn't you? And it just hit so much stuff. It was throwing, just bonkers amounts of stuff. I think the Sturmovix killed 5 infantry as well over the course of the game.
Or good, depending on your point of view.
But yeah, and I take it all back on single tube mortars as well now. They're quite handy. It's a really annoying thing to say, but the Storm Group's 82mm mortar was just gently plugging away.
It's better than nothing.
It does. It does. You have to be a bit careful though, because as soon as you start shooting with it, your opponent can shoot that stand and essentially ignore the guns ground on the rest of the unit. But if you're smart, you can. Yeah, you'd have to make sure you tucked it away, or you could do something else with it. But there was 100mm guns evaporating that really annoyed me, and that rifles unit that was supporting them also evaporated, so that opened up my right flank quite unfortunately. And then
ended up pushing through that way, and then I finally rolled. You got some infantry on and T-34s, who were then trying to go for the objective in the open. You kind of got there and dug in, but then I rolled up my Averies and my Crocs.
It made no difference.
Well, this is the thing: is we sat there.
Dug in.
I nearly interspersed my Averies between my 2 Crocs. I'm like, 3 Crocs. I was like, why am I doing this? They don't need to be there. Like, I know there's a reason I need to do this, but I can't think. At the moment, they're just going to get shot by a T-34s because they're only front armor 9 versus the Crocodiles being 11.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up moving the Averies further away, so they weren't in contesting range of the objective. And then I burned everything off. He fell back. And I was like, okay, well, that's it. And then it was Santa turned around and said, but the game isn't over yet. I said, yeah, no, I've captured that. He goes, yes, but they're crocodiles, dear boy. And I was like, oh yeah, crap, crocs can't capture objectives, can they? That's why I wanted the Averies there, because I would have won the game. So it ended up dragging out for another turn, which was actually, was a Hail Mary for Duncan. He nearly got it. But
well, what did he do?
Well, he had T-34s to move up. So
T-34,
had he killed the 2 Averies, then I would have had no scoring objectives units over by that objective. And actually, I then would be forced to push forward on the other one after I'd lost my 2 platoons of infantry because it machine gunned them and mortared them to death. And then actually, I haven't got anything to dig him out because all I've got is my M10s trying to hunt down his tanks across the board at long range. But then I got a stellar round of M10ing. They were pretty good in that game, which took out half of his platoon of T-34s from across the board.
Were you using the M10? Was it the M10? Sorry, M1017 lates, or was it just the D-Day
No,
ones?
it was D-Day ones. Because the extra, I don't think you don't need the extra oomph, really.
Not really, no.
No, so the best, it was a Brit D-Day list. That's why putting the comments in was a bit cheeky. But yeah, I didn't use those. I only used those for the first game. The rest of the games I just played my normal list. And eventually shot him off And then the Averies moved over rather sheepishly and were like, "Oh yeah, please.
We're supposed to...
Sorry, should have been here last turn."
And that's what was really annoying about losing the 100 mils, because actually they weren't facing, a lot of them, well, over half the unit weren't facing the oncoming armor cars.
Yeah.
They were actually sighted to cover the objective.
And that's why you need.
That would have.
You know, you had most of the platoon there, but not a whole. But you need something else, and that's what I think the Soviets fall down. You don't get quite enough points to have that overlap.
No.
You know, you don't. If you had an extra platoon of infantry that could have sat there with, you know, another stand of anti-tank rifles, that would have stopped the assaulting half-tracks dead. Not half-tracks, universal carriers. I would have stopped that dead, and then I wouldn't have been able to do that cheeky one universal carrier going in to get, you know, the lucky break to make you fall back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even if it's not the lucky break, I mean, even if they'd have hung around, you get to potentially counter attack.
With the recce list, it's on 5s because they're recce. They're not designed for it. You get one shot.
I know, but yeah, it's one in 3. It's 1 in 3 people. There's this idea that stuff that counterattacks.
It's not they won't never counterattack. You just can't count on it.
Patently rubbish. No, you can't. I'm just saying that.
Stood in the open
even if
going,
you don't counterattack,
oh no, I really wish I had some cover here, and then you get obliterated by some AT fire, you know, light AT fire, because you've sacrificed your concealment for actually doing something.
But it hasn't come off.
Yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, exactly. That's why you've got the one shot to kind of get it to work, and after that, anything else is a bonus. But you definitely can't count on it. And then you evaporate loads of platoons, and then you end up, you know, because at the end of it, I don't know how many platoons you killed of mine. It was ridiculous. It's like 6.
Oh, I can tell you.
6 platoons.
Yeah, it was 6. There wasn't much left. I was actually getting quite close to being able to get within, you know, spitting distance of breaking a recce
that's
company.
why I started to pull stuff back. There's another thing, you know, if you get stuck under a bombardment and your infantry's pinned, so they can't go forwards, don't be scared of running backwards. Don't have to sit under it. If you're pinned, yes, you can't advance towards the enemy. You can still move away. So there's about twice, I think, I've run a platoon the wrong direction just to avoid the repeat.
Trying to remove.
Especially with hit on 3 infantry, because that just sucks.
Yeah, the Sturmovix didn't turn up as much in this one. They only turned up 3 turns out of the 6. But they did kill 6 infantry, a Daimler, and then bailed 2 M10Cs and a Dingo.
Dingo ate my baby.
So they did some work.
So that was a 6-3 to me, I think.
It was, yeah, because you won, but taking horrific casualties doing
partisans, aren't they? They don't count.
It's the win that matters.
They don't come off my tally. Which meant in the last round, after 2 wins, I went up against Graham Wilmont, who is the ETC Team England captain, with his just absolute ton of. I think he had every half track and fixed gun in the German army in one force. It was recce company, brigade recce. So with drillings, with mortars, with 160mm mortars, with Panzer Force 70s in reserve, minefields. It was just a whole load of stuff.
Wow.
And it was.
What old minefields?
No, minefields in the mission, but obviously being Wilmont, he put them in a line and then deployed his infantry in the middle and went, come and sort me off this.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'd rather not, thank you. So it was attacking. I was attacking lengthways. I can't remember the mission now. I should rewrite this down. Attacking
it's not like we have like content we have to worry about or anything like that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Well, normally it's close enough you can remember it. Yeah.
Oh, Eddie. I didn't do it either. I'm just going to say, Eddie.
Highlights of that mission were he had four mortar half tracks in woods in his deployment area. I deployed my M10s in the open opposite them at long range. But because he's only hit on 3s, So it's hit on 3s, concealed 4s, gone to ground 5s, outrange 6s, 4 M10s. I got 5 6s in the first salvo, and just turned the
Oh my
platoon
God.
inside out.
Wow.
And then I think so that the M10s in that game, they managed to kill. They took out the first platoon of mortars. They then drove up, took out another platoon of recce by pinging 2 of them on 6s, which meant the third one ran away. The next turn, they drove up again, took out another platoon of. I think they killed about 3.5 platoons. And the last one passed 3 last stands before he finally got killed by Panzer 470.
Oh my God.
Just destroy. It was like, oh, you need 6s. Yeah, there you go. There's a 6. Thanks. Just unbelievable. But yeah, basically, I pushed up. I was overcommitted my Averies and Crocodiles and lost them against ambushing Pack 43s and Flag 36s. But that meant the other side, which had Universal Carriers and Daimlers and everything, and infantry could push up. And I actually got within spitting distance of the objective. And it was one of the ones where we could probably grind it down and I could get some more platoons. But I'd already got the 2 platoons. So ended up going big for the win. And ended up just getting defensive fired off, and just whittling myself dry against the, and then calling it there because there's no point playing. And 3 games a day is a long day, especially at that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, as always, it was a great game. I probably shouldn't have overcommitted on the one flank. Once it went in, I dropped smoke, advanced. And this is one of the ones where actually, had I put the infantry on Universal Carriers, they would have been across the gap already. So I didn't need to do that. Because of the defensive positioning, I had enough room that I dashed my Universal Carriers halfway across the board in the middle, in turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
And were they loaded with infantry, that would make a real difference. Which is kind of why I want to, really go back and give them their true best shot. So yeah, no,
they know all the tricks of your force. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just that.
I mean, that kind of gets back to what the theory was about, like playing one army for the whole year.
Yeah.
So you learn all these
like
little
force,
tricks and things you can do with it.
And you know when it's not worth it, and you know when it is worth it. And actually, yeah. So we'll see. I'll take it to warfare and end up playing my German list the whole time again. Yeah, so I ended up losing that one 3-6. But I got the platoons, and it was a good fight. So not too sad about that one. Thanks.
Yeah, I like the fact you actually managed to make sure you had your 2 platoons before you went for the Hail Mary attack kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really it's a bigger part of why am I there for the weekend. And for this one, I wanted to place wanted to place as best I could with this list because it was supposed to be the last time. And last year, when I played this list, I got distraction card effects by the bridge.
Yeah.
I ended up using a bloody AVRE bridge when I really could have just driven across the middle and flamed all his Bofors guns to death. It was last year that was one of the worst games I've ever played, really, because I drove my recce vehicles at his Bofors guns, which then obviously obliterated them because they're anti-tank 5, and spent turns just messing around with the flipping river crossing when I just didn't have to.
Yep.
There was absolutely no benefit to doing so other than using my little AVRE bridge card.
Which does look cool.
It does look cool, yeah, but there's a time and a place, Fez, and that was neither.
There was no benefit to doing
so. Yeah, that was my game 3 on the Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, it's me, isn't it? My game 3 was against Rich Butler's Pattern Reluctant Rifle, what they call it, Battle Weary Rifle Company from Bulge. It was 2-2.
So you both lost.
Yeah, both lost. Just about snuck it round to, I think it got to turn 5. So it was one of the ones where the objectives weren't live till turn 6 anyway. So.
Yep.
Yep.
Enough said, right? Then, Saturday night, amazing curry. Good fun hanging out with people.
It was good.
And
It was good.
then Sunday morning, what'd you do? Play more Flames of War at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yay! So I do know. I remember this mission because it was probe. And this is one thing about reading the mission pack. Read the effing manual, people. So my opponent, who I think was called Steve, his 40-point swap. So I mistakenly used in my head for Corrivalry, if you change where a unit comes from, like, you know, if you move it from a core unit to a support unit, that points cost counts.
Yeah.
So if I had Shermans in my, you know, as a core formation, if I then took that Sherman as a support platoon instead, that would count towards my 40-point limits as a change. However, that was the assumption I had. So in this mission, what Steve had done is basically he had one list was a American Sherman veteran company with infantry support.
Yep.
And then the 40-point lit swap, what he did was swap them over. So he made the infantry support the formation by adding some units in, and he made all the tanks the support.
Oh, that's clever.
So between the two lists, there was only 40 points of actual changes in physical models, but where they sat within the list was a huge change. It's very clever. Yeah, exactly.
That's very clever.
So it meant that when he came into it, he could decide whether to attack or defend against my mech list.
Yes.
So he looked at the mission, went, oh, it's probe. I will defend. I'll take the infantry list, which is luckily, because I was sitting there going, crap. If he takes the tank list, I want my comets, I want my typhoons, because he's, you know, only got a couple of platoons of infantry. If he takes the infantry list, I want the crops, which I don't necessarily want against his tanks. So I ended up, I lucked out and I picked, you know, my main list. He picked his infantry, and then we played probe.
You got lucky there, seriously, didn't you?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have done too bad against his tanks looking at it because it wasn't.
No, because there's still 18
exactly.
or whatever.
And I've still got the 17 pounders, still got the M10s. So probe.
Yeah.
I think there should be a point in the game, in the missions pack, where if you're playing a game like probe, where you can only win by capturing the objective, there should be a thing where if you have no, you know, after turn 6 or whatever, if you have no teams past the halfway point of the board, you lose. Because what ended up happening, I went all out aggressive on one of his objectives because I had the benefit in points because I had my 2 platoons of infantry that count as being on the board. So I went super aggro, and then by turn 2 was right up within 4 inches of his objective, trying to, you know, wait for my Crocs and Averies to turn up from reserve to help push them off. But I was there putting pressure on, and at no point in the entire game did he move a unit out of his deployment area. And yet he could only win by capturing the objective on my side of the board. So we ended up...
So if it had run out, what would have happened? Like, if you'd have been...
Well, no, so what happened was that it ended up being... He was at no point in the game could he have won. Because I had... You know, my 2 formation units were out of line of sight at the back, so he couldn't break my company. There's no way he could capture the objectives because they were guarded by, you know, 2 or 3, and he didn't get anywhere near them. However, because he played super defensively, he lost. It was, you know, we drew. Well, we didn't draw. We both lost. However, I lost more units, so therefore I scored less. So he scored.
Right.
He scored 3 for killing all the units that I was trying to actually win the game with. And I only scored 1.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to clear the teams off the objective, not... You know,
yeah, I can see what you're saying. From his perspective, he had no incentive to actually play the mission. Or his only incentive was to stop you. He couldn't win, but his incentive was to stop you.
Well, he didn't even try to win. He didn't move. He didn't even try to win the game.
which is frustrating.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where it's like, well, hang about. Why am I doing worse in a tournament because I've tried to win the game than he is by just sitting there?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
So I think some of the missions are a bit. There's room for improvement there. It shouldn't be a case of you can sit there and just go, well, I'm going to do better. I'm going to score 3 points, and you're only going to score 1. Even though for about 4 turns, and I tried every trick in the book. It was amazing because he had the last turn assault we did. He had all of his Shermans had turned up and was sat at the back of the board. His M10s were back at the back of the board.
Mm-hmm.
But I managed to drop in a smoke bombardment that cut off all but one of his tanks. And I'd pinned him with flame. I pinned him as well with Averies. So bombarded the Averies, and I basically had one attempt with my Daimler, and he had 2 shots with his Sherman in defensive fire that were hitting on fours normally, fires for smoke, and he got the 1 through, killed it. Okay, go in with the universal carriers, same again, killed it. And it's like, had he missed that, I was then hitting reluctant infantry. So it was super close. Yeah, and it literally sitting there pouring sweat on my face, bringing out every little thing I could do.
Why won't you die?
Ease try to get all of the thing of like, okay, now I've got you. You fall back. Get that one little break. And pretty much he just sat there and wait for his reserves to turn up and just sat there. But, yeah, it's a bit frustrating looking back at it, because at the time I didn't really care because I was all about trying to win the game. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, you've got lucky artillery bombardment, you've killed most of my infantry. Oh, that sucks. Okay, well, what can I do? Oh, wait, I've only picked 1 or 2 teams off 3 or 4 different platoons. Oh, crap, I can see how this is going to go now.
Yeah, I think I've done that before. Is it Escape, the mission where the reserves come on behind you?
We'll get onto that one.
I was going to say, I've done that to myself, though. I've broken myself on the front of those defences trying to win it. And then,
I've never seen the point of not playing a game to try and win. So, yes, I might lose badly if I play it defensively, but it's just like, that's too short.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just apparently the player is super defensive anyway. That's how he normally plays, which is fair enough. He scored 3 points in a mission where he didn't. Had he gone for it with what he had, he wouldn't really. He may have lost it, but he lost it anyway, which is weird. It's the weird thing. It's like if you lose, you should lose.
He maximised the points available to him.
Yeah, by not trying to win.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the movie War Game. Sometimes the best move is not to play the game.
It's an interesting strategy, Cotton. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, but I feel like that sometimes having played infantry. There's a few missions where, especially with those ones where it's like you have to keep someone off, or 8 inches, or whether it's 6 or 8 inches away from the objective, or outside of your table half by the end of the 6th turn. I feel like that sometimes, that it feels almost impossible to win. Because you almost, or not impossible to win, but impossible to win via the victory conditions of the scenario, because you will break a company almost certainly before that happens.
But I mean,
and I do think that some of those are a bit strange. I don't particularly enjoy the idea that you can prolong, especially with a timed environment like that. The idea that you can just keep prolonging and prolonging and prolonging a game, and there's no way you can potentially end it as the defender. It feels very, very out of your control.
Well, the thing is, that's the thing. This was a meeting engagement. This wasn't a defensive battle. Because of the nature of Corrivalry, he ended up taking a force that was defensive. So therefore, he sat on a meeting engagement battle being all defensive.
That shouldn't be how you play a meeting engagement. Engagement should be swirling.
And that's what I'm saying. So there should be something in there. The mission should state you lose if you're not trying to win, at least.
Yeah.
And turn 6, not having a single team out of your deployment area is not a very hard thing to do. and actually would give you more,
No.
would reward the aggressive player who's got his force forward and is trying to push on, as opposed to the guy who just sits there and gets mullered. Anyway, so that was my game 4. So it's a 3-1 loss. Dunk.
Yeah. Mine was against Gary's Finns. So I found this really hard as a setup. The Finnish infantry was brutal. I can't remember. What's the one with the weird circle cut out in the centre of the table when you attack from
Counter-attack.
one quarter to the other quarter? Thank you. So that it was that battle, and I just didn't really feel like my infantry was going to do anything against his infantry. He had
the better
4
infantry.
templates. It's just the artillery he was able to bring down on them, and it just, like you said, you can't just sit there under an artillery bombardment. I couldn't go forward because by going forward, I went into a field of, small arms fire. So I ended up going sideways or backwards with it. I was really relying on those IS-85s to come on. But he cunningly used his spearhead to move these Pack 40s and some infantry right up to ambush essentially the attackers when they came on, because it's the scenario where they come on your other half of your table edge, if that makes sense. So, I mean, I was fine against the front armour against their Pack 40s, but again, I wouldn't be able to fight my way through, because as soon as they got in my side, that was me done. I mean, everything's got Panzerfaust as well, and the infantry is excellent. So, and the other thing he did, which was really canny, was he identified early on that the 6 120s were going to be a problem for him. So he just kept hammering those and trying to keep them pinned or suppressed in some way and chip away at them. So they weren't really a major factor. When they did finally get ranged in on the objective, they did start plastering stuff, but it was too late by that point. I think it was like turn 4. And what finally swung it is, I think in turn 5, I'd moved my IS-85s up and round. They did a road dash at one point, which must have put all kinds of strain on their engine.
So Duncan, your game 5? 4?
Game 5. No, 4. Yeah, we
Finns.
just saying about the Finns. Yeah. I just struggled. His armour's not great. He's got T26s, T28s. The IS-85s tried to push it through, and it was in the, I think it was in the 5th turn. The IS-85s in one turn, which really screwed me completely, and that's the Panzerfaust fire. And it was just, at that point, I couldn't get to the objective in time. Yeah, it ended up being, I think it was a lot. No, it's a draw. I think it's a draw. Either draw or a loss.
Well, same difference.
Exactly the same difference. But
everyone's a loser.
Everyone's a loser because I couldn't punch through them. I lost one IS-85 because I was careless. Yeah. I let the Finnish infantry leap round the corner and Panzerfaust me. And, it's unlucky because it's a 4 to hit. Then, I've got a 50-50 save.
Yeah.
And then it's a 5+ to kill me. So even being a bit sloppy, I got a bit unlucky to actually lose one. And then I lost another one to defensive fire on an assault to the front. Oof. Oh, no, sorry, not defensive fire to the front. Sorry, it was just standard fire to the front. Just the Panzerfaust to the face. I rolled a 1. He rolled a 5+. I was like, there we go. Right, and at that point, it kind of just petered out the attack. I mean, it was. People say things about 2-gun platoons, but they're only dangerous if you're taking fire. I mean, Gary had like 2-gun Bofors platoons and 2-gun Pack 40 platoons, and they're only a concern if you lose one. If you don't lose one,
I mean, that's the thing. If you're just sitting there for defensive fire, that's all you need.
If you're in good spirits, you're in good spirits, right?
I mean, gone to ground. Yeah, hit on 4s, concealed, gone to ground.
Exactly, and it just I didn't have a decent way. And this is when I looked at it again and went, I didn't have enough template weapons. I needed a second decent barrage. I had one very, very good barrage, but one's not enough.
One is none, and 2 is 1.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's all right if you've got other ways to do it. Like your crocodiles and as well as the Averies. So the crocodiles are just as good at digging out infantry as anything else is. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. Could not do it on that one. So, but in lighter news, the Sturmovik killed. It destroyed a T-28 and a T-26, and it bailed two bailed two BT-42s and two T-26s. But again, the problem I was finding that bailing stuff in late war is not really much point, because a lot of stuff is either never going to get back in again, and people don't care, or it just leaps back in because it's like I don't know, Patton or SS or something like that.
Patton, jeez,
Patton's awful. Patton is just the most egregious card. It gets worse when you play it.
I really tried to kill him.
I mean, Patton's always bad in version 3. It feels like it got worse in version 4.
It's the fact he's not even on the table. He's just on the phone.
Yeah, he's just Speed Information Commander.
Yeah.
So
it's the fact it's 8 inches, it should just be in command. It doesn't need to be an 8-inch bubble.
Is it if you kill the formation commander, there it goes, doesn't it?
Correct.
Just disappears. What happens if you've got two formations?
Then you would apply it to a formation, don't you?
Is it only to one formation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I'm sure there's just nonsense they can try to justify it another way, but
I just find it egregious. Like, it's just awful. But yeah, that was it. I mean, the Finns defeated the Soviets, so I mean, we've probably got to smile at that in some ways. Yeah. That was my game 4.
And then my last game was against Patton again. Only knobheads take Patton. So it was Mark Goddard. So I ended up playing Escape versus Mark's winter-based US rifles. So he had a load of US rifles, a load of 3-inch guns with the US equivalent of pack front, so they're all individual teams scattered around. A load of mortars, and then his reserves were Hellcats, Sherman 76s, and he had some recce as well. And then I was attacking him, waiting for his stuff to come in from behind. So all my gun teams, deployed all my gun teams facing the wrong way. And basically, by this point, I'd had a pretty rough Friday night, pretty rough Saturday night, and I was absolutely exhausted. Is my defence, because and Mark's totally right. He said I should be way more aggressive and with the universal carriers, and basically done what I'd already done to Duncan. I could have done to him.
Yeah, to me,
could have dumped smoke, run down one side, especially if I had my infantry and the universal carriers. That would have been amazing in that mission, and then I would have deployed a load of infantry off there and just assault crocodile Avery the crap out of him, and I would have just rolled him up bit by bit, which was kind of hilarious because we figured out with the points, because Mark was kind of running the whole event because he got volunteered by Hammy, which is even more hilarious. I think what Mark said was, do you want me to get the scores? And then Hammy took that as Mark going, I'll run the whole thing. But it ended up, we figured out that if Mark scored 3 points, he would barring something egregious, most probably win Corrivalry because of the way that it had all gone.
Because of the countback and everything.
Because of the countback and everything. So at that point, I decided, should I just hide all of my platoons in a wood? And then
to deny it from
to
Kingmaker
kill points, and then time out with the draw. And then unfortunately we got the escape mission, so I couldn't do that because I had to be within
escape
6 inches, 8 inches of the objective.
Yeah, you're encouraged to keep moving with that one.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to go forward. So yeah, he got his platoons. He did use my own tricks against me with recce assaulting into the side of large gun teams by He tried once and failed egregiously to kill my 17-pounders that are facing the wrong way, and I didn't quite get enough support over there in time to help them. So he ended up going again with one Greyhound scout car, killing my confident 17-pounders because they can't break off. But I obliterated all of his AT, and then it ended up being this quite interesting scrap between assaulting out terrain bazookas versus Avries and crocodiles.
He had pattern, didn't he? As he got the world.
Yeah, of course he did. He had Patton sat right in the middle within 8 inches of all his platoon commanders, just giving everything 2+. Interestingly, though, he also failed his reserve rolls like twice, even with the reroll.
Bit of cosmic justice there.
Yeah. And then on the third attempt, he managed to get 2 successes and bring them both on at once. Yeah, no, it was a good game. Good player. I was a little bit too. I was stung by the game before, which made me overly cautious. When in reality, had I gone super aggro, probably could have won. At least got a 6-3. But
that's what you need to do. You need to win these. It's irrelevant how many platoons you lose.
Yeah,
it's winning the game.
That's the thing. The game before, that's where I played it, and then didn't get, because I was basically fighting. I was covering my other objective with a couple of platoons, so I wasn't going against his. Basically, had his whole army sat there against me, which is annoying. But anyway, it was good game. Mark's a very capable player. Looking forward to a rematch. He's my white whale. He didn't do a conga of tanks, which was nice.
Makes a change.
Yeah. No, and so it ended up. I think we basically got to a point where, like, I had the crocodiles left. He couldn't kill the crocodiles, but it was just going to take too long for me to burn everything down. So we just called it a draw, I think, because he'd got his 3 platoons, I'd got 3 platoons. So I think it ended up on a 3-3. I'm sure Mark will write and correct me once he listens to this. But it's a fun game. Interesting one escape.
I hate that mission.
It's all about. At least I didn't time out by not being near the objective, which is my usual trick because I forget the defender goes first.
Yep. It's a really tough one, I think. It's just because you got no secure flank at all. Anyway. There we go.
Well, I had enough gun teams that I could just sit there and wait for his guys to turn on, and I deployed them a little bit too aggressively and didn't have enough support behind them. Because I didn't think about his super aggro recce team driving forward, and that's me just missing a threat. And had I focused on the threat and obliterated it, it wouldn't have been a problem. Had I just put one gun team facing the other way, I totally didn't appreciate the threat, and he came and punished me with my own tricks, which is quite funny.
Well,
how was your last game?
I'll say my game 5 was against Paul's lovely. I think they won Best Painted. I'm pretty sure they did actually. I think it's an SS Recce company. Yeah. Oh, it was Recce. It was the Knittel Recce company. So is that a bold?
Yeah, it's a bit of a darling with the meta now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it? Pourquoi?
Apparently so. I keep seeing it referenced. I don't know why.
I'm not sure.
It's terrible. No one ever take it.
Well, he had an interesting one because he also had Pack 43s and he had Flak 36s, but from Camp Group Swoboda. So both his 88s could bombard, but they didn't have to. Well, that was quite an interesting little combo. He had 2 King Tigers as a platoon, and then just lots and lots and lots of half tracks. He had the drillings and the stummels and mortars, and then just infantry platoons. They were all SS infantry. And I mean, I'm not going to blame dice, but this did feel like the universe just taking a running jump and just kicking me right in the nuts for the final time before we parted ways at the tournament. The Thermomix did have their highlight of the whole event during it, but I mean, I lost all of my 100 mils to direct firing Stummels.
What?
Which was horrific. There was
some hot dice.
It's not as bad as you think, because they only save on a 4, so they're hitting me on 6s. I'm saving on a 4, and then he's killing me on a 3+. So out of the 8 dice,
that's true.
No, it's more than that, isn't it? They're 2 each. Out of the 12 dice, he's hit me twice. I'm failing 1, and he's got a 3+ to kill it. So you only have to get a little bit lucky to kill 2, and that's what he did in 1 turn. The mortars, and I think he had some other artillery. It might be in vests. Did a number on the infantry that was supporting them, and it got to. I mean, I'll skip ahead to the end because it was quite funny. But it got to turn 6, and there was not a Russian infantry stand within 3.5 feet of the objective that he was about to capture.
3.5 feet.
3.5 feet. It just got wiped out all around it, and I couldn't because there were half tracks and the mobile machine gun platforms. You're like actually trying to move infantry up to reinforce something is almost impossible because you get caught in the open and then just brutally gunned down. And both my reserves came on because it was deep scattered reserves. Both of them came on directly the opposite table edge. So they came on exactly 6 feet from where they needed to be. So we were just laughing about it in the end. It was just hilarious because it looked like we were just misread the mission wrong or something, or
just deploying wrong.
Yeah, there was just this objective with no one around it apart from one. It wasn't even anything impressive. It was like one SS recce team who just sort of sat there. He followed himself.
Guys.
Well, he followed himself through the minefields in front of it, and then just sat the platoon leader there. And he went, "Oh, kind of just going to sit here now." But in this game though, the Sturmovix killed. So they came on turns 2 and 4 only. They killed a King Tiger. They bailed a King Tiger. They killed a Stummel, and then the King Tiger platoon routed. So they destroyed a King Tiger platoon. But they also were shot down in this game by just 2 centimeter fire. This is the first time I lost them in the entire weekend.
That's
as well.
impressive.
That's just mad.
I mean, there's some stupid stuff going on. He had 6 drillings, and they were stationed in the open, firing over open sights at my infantry. So they hit me on 5s. They were running 30 dice, and just just hammering them with so many 2 centimeter fire that they just that was chewing them up as well. So it was. I mean, it was a game's a game, right? Dice happen. They just feel they suddenly went whoop. You can have this one bit of good luck, but then everything else is going to go wrong. How's that? Oh, okay. But I mean, I don't think there was a way that I could realistically in that mission as well. It was one of those ones to keep him back from 8. He had so many little platoons that he could have just thrown on to the objectives to just keep the game going. I don't think there's any way that I could have actually won that game. I think I could have just got 3 points, and I think I only got 2 though.
Oof.
Well, that was it.
Tough game.
It was a very tough game. I mean, those it's weird. Those sort of recce lists are really problematic for infantry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the combo of everything. Like he was direct fire. Oh, that was the other thing he was doing. He was direct firing 88s at like 45mm anti-tank guns and things like that, and that hurts.
Jeez.
Because your sixes to hit them even at long range, and just if you fail your save, there's a very good chance they're just going to blow you apart.
So I'm trying to find the actual last standings.
Yeah, I don't know where I finished. I know Mark won.
Mark
obviously
did win, much to the chagrin of everyone involved. No, well done, Mark. You played well. Had a good list. Can't rag on him too much.
The list won, not him.
Yeah, no, nothing to do with the player.
Nope.
No, so Mark did win. It's quite funny because the top top 5, top 7 were very close together. A lot of it was done by countback,
Right.
as to how many platoons they'd lost to get there, and strength of opponent and all that stuff like that. Far too complicated for me to understand. But then when I got home, turns out that a whole load of other people actually come second, third, fourth, and fifth, because Rex King had put his result in, and they'd written the results the wrong way round, and he won 8-1. So, so Rex was given 1 point when he'd won the game, and that obviously massively changed everyone. So I think we were both, well, I know I ended up about midfield.
Yeah, because at one point you were really on the podium, literally into that last game. Just seemed to, like, massively drop down the
exactly.
ranking.
Yeah, so what happened was I was massive. I was in the runnings, but then obviously I only got 3, and then some other people got 8 points, which then put them above, which put me midfield.
I don't think I came anywhere. I think I came
bottom.
I probably had something like 16 points, I think, over the game.
Yeah, but you weren't last.
Weekend. No. It's fine.
So no, it was very good weekend. Loads of interesting games and lists and things, and interesting missions as well. Because that's the great thing about Corrivalry, is you don't end up playing the same thing over and over and over again. Because every table has a different mission, even if it doesn't mean you end up with some swingy stuff.
Well, I think I'd rather play the swingy stuff than the same stuff over and over and over again.
So that's good fun. Thank you very much to Battlefield Hobbies for hosting it. I walked away with a box of Casserine for 30 odd quid, £33, I think it was.
We didn't walk off with it. You paid for it, right?
Well, yeah. Well, Hammy hasn't caught me yet, so.
Not as far as you know.
Yeah, no, 33 quid for a Casserine starter set. I was like, that's too good, especially with the price rise coming along.
Well, I got a box of the German Grenadier Company that was 25% off, and it was pre-price rise prices as well. So it was
tasty.
It's like £18. So I thought, I'll have that.
I mean, not that I need any more models, as I'm about to go through the garage tomorrow.
But just trying to persuade Lee, I think that's the kind of tournament you'd like, though, Lee, because it's not the stances don't matter, and it's all dedicated by the terrain on the tabletop.
Yeah, and you say that, but the whole weird way of doing the stances is the thing that actually really annoys me about it.
Well, it helps you with your army selection, because it means that you can go, right, I'm going to be tanks, so I'm attacking everyone. It's version 3. I'm attacking everyone apart from other tank companies. Or I want to defend, so I take infantry. So the only thing I'll be attacking against is other infantry on a dice roll. And then you've got the 40-point swap to help you cope with that.
Or we could just use rules as written.
But the issue there is you'll never get the missions. Because the rules as written, the missions are generated upon your stance. Whereas the original idea was Hammy had lots of different terrain boards, but there was no point playing certain missions on the Stalingrad board that was beautiful, but it was 6x4 of just ruined buildings. So in that case, it was a case of do the mission to fit the table, and then you can alter your force to fit the mission to try and get a bit of a balanced thing out.
It's just the same as every other tournament. It's just a different way to compose your army. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I do appreciate it.
More comets. That's what we need. Run on Warfare. More comets.
There.
Are we all playing comets at Warfare?
No, I might play Soviets again. There must be a best Soviet general somewhere. Trophy.
Just over and over again.
Yeah, just punish myself.
Speaking of Soviets.
No.
Yeah, should we look at the command cards?
When we say we, I can't actually open them up at the moment.
Oh, hello, disappointment, my old friend.
Yeah, so we're going to skip through the cards that are common to both this and Bag Russian Soviets, which is going to cut down the number of cards we cut do considerably.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
I mean, if
first card
you're still taking lucky at this point, I think you need probably putting against the wall and shooting.
How very Soviet of you.
Yep.
yeah, because as far as I can just tell flicking through, soft skins, amphibious transports, and armored tractors are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a few tweaks on what units can take them to add for the extra stuff on there.
Well, the amphibious transports are hero sappers, aren't they? So they change the unit you can apply them to.
Yeah, so in Bag Russian, it's for the engineer
for the
sappers and Berlin. It's for the hero engineer sappers. Obviously, that's what's in Berlin. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the actual card functions the same way.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're basically an unarmored, confident, careful, trained, soft skin vehicle, amphibious vehicle, which has its things we'll get onto later.
Yes.
So the first unique card is Spetsnaz Platoon, Captured Half Tracks.
2 points. Give yourself some half tracks.
So you can take the
That's pretty
Scout
much it,
Platoon, which is obviously a unit in the Hero Rifle Platoon, if I remember rightly.
It is. It's the SMG one. It can be 5, 7, or 9 stands.
Yeah, and you just basically give them a bunch of half tracks to cart them around, which gives them a big button.
Jenkins.
Yeah. I mean, it's making an already expensive platoon even more expensive, but it does give them transport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all right. No, I don't think it's. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I think 7 stands is 10 points. So it's not that expensive to put them. It is, but you get, how many do you get for each one?
Well, we consider
Every
like
two
a
infantry
confident
stands.
veteran German half track platoon is like 14 points, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. It's basically the same.
1 half track per 2 teams.
Yeah, so if you've got your 7 stands, you're going to get four half tracks. That gives you some long range firepower, because the other thing is they're only SMG arm normally, so it does actually give you 4 stands of MG42.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, next card MG.
Is it?
Can they use it? If they're in the half tracks, won't they use their Scout Spearhead? Will they?
Not of the.
They'd have to like move forward on foot to get the spearhead, and then the half tracks could deploy in the spearhead deployment.
Yeah,
that's a bit weird.
That is a bit weird.
What is that? Because the vehicle doesn't have it as well.
No, that's what I was just thinking. The vehicle does not have it.
It's the flip of the universal carrier passengers, isn't it?
Yeah.
The vehicle's harder to hit, but the passengers aren't. Whereas in this, the passengers have the skill, but the vehicle doesn't. It's there for completionism, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If you really want it.
Yeah, so just look at the points. Yeah, 7 SMGs is 10 points. 9 SMGs is 13 points.
Yeah, it gets you 5 half tracks at that point.
It's a flat 2 points. So yeah,
it's not terrible. I don't hate it. I just think it's got limited uses, because the other thing is you don't want those scouts. You don't want the scouts assaulting stuff, really, because based on my experience, they're not as good at it as everyone else.
No, because they're counterattack 5+ and assault 4+.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is a new unit, Su-57 light self-propelled tank killer company. Basically, it's taking an American half track, put an American 57mm like 6-pounder basically on the back of it.
Oh, wow.
I think only the Soviets used them as well. The Americans start building and realised they're very redundant and got rid of them.
Oh, poor things.
But they're 5 for 9 points, 8 tank 10. I mean, it's an ambush gun, but there's no HE.
4 maybe?
I mean,
it can only fit into the light tank killer company as well.
Yeah, so you're replacing the 45mm, which are 6 points.
Yeah, I think that's the actual unit itself. Yes, it's
completionism.
I mean, I don't hate them again, because the heavy tank killers, which are the 57s, have got 8011, and they're a bit more. I think they're 8. They might be 8 points. So 8 points for 4. So 5 for 9 points, and their armored's not terrible. I just
I'm just trying to remember myself. What is a light tank killer company?
That's
It's the
exactly what I was
45.
thinking.
It's a 45
It's the-
millimeter. Right. No. Okay. So I
45
can see that then.
Okay.
Because as a compared to taking 45 millimeters for 8 points, take 467 for 7 points, a point cheaper. You got mobility. You've got a better gun, albeit with no HE.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care about
So
that.
yeah, it's going to be
I don't
very
think
low down the priority of things to spend points on. But if I had that, a cheeky, 5 points left over for 357s, I could see that
Yeah, maybe.
maybe fit in.
I think the most outrage has been around the fact that the Stummel is you get more, they're better.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think they're fine. Yeah, I think if you take them in isolation within the Soviet book, they've got a place and more option. It's another option for that slot. I don't hate it at all. I think it's quite could be quite handy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next unique card is Spetsnaz Platoon. Enemy disguises.
Same as the Germans.
Yeah. Basically, you can give your scouts enemy disguises, so you have to roll a
Skill check.
Skill check
to identify them. And if they pass, units identified, otherwise it remains unidentified. Any does this has a +1 score required to hit.
So you get a little bit of protection for 2 points. Maybe. Fluffy.
No.
Whatever.
No.
I'm just excited. I'm excited. Then we've got Duncan's usual favourite, Lucky. Duncan's actual favourite, Make Your Own Luck.
Yeah, but I like this card. I think it's well written. Unlike Lucky.
What's the difference between Make Your Own Luck and Lucky then, Dunk?
So Lucky is just a flat reroll to anything you like under the sun.
Yeah.
Make Your Own Luck is you don't get to roll a dice, you just get to turn your dice to a 4.
Yeah, you got to do it before you discard a card before you roll a dice. So you got to decide to use it.
So it requires some kind of skill in the first place to actually use it because you've got to make a decision about using your resource.
Mm-hmm.
But also, a 4+ is not. It's useful for a lot of things, but it also can't do reserves, for example. So there are limitations to it. Whereas Lucky is just
not a 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you take a Sturmovik, you take this and you staple it to the card because the Sturmovik obviously turns up on a 4, so you can use it for that if you really want it to come in.
Against me.
Or I did. The rockets and bombs are on 4s for firepower. So there's plenty of uses for it. Whereas Lucky, I just find it's too utilitarian.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah.
It might not be.
Although you can take both, of course.
You can. I mean, I don't know if... Yeah, sure. If you've got 2 points, you want to throw at that? Yeah.
That's worth noting that... No, that's a lie. I'm not going to say it. Anyway, so on to the next unique card. It's a
favourite one.
Bed Spring Armour.
What?
Well, Undiction Logs was in Bagration, so I thought we could skip the one.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh my God, I missed that.
Yep.
Well, okay. But
if it's your favourite card, you can talk about it.
Yeah, no, Undiction Logs with Hero IS2s. Oh my God. 1 point. Discard the cards. All tank teams in the unit may reroll without cross tests when crossing difficult terrain until the end of the turn. Oh,
what's across the IS2? 2+, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move up into this wood. Oh, I mean that's the thing. It doesn't state when you have to do it. So you go, oh, I failed a couple there. All right, well I'm going to sort this turn anyway. Unditching Logs, boff. Reroll those. I reroll my assault ones. I reroll my break off or consolidation ones. It's just ridiculous. It's so good for those 1 platoons when you have to drive through woods to kill people.
I mean, I'm certainly a lot more sold on it now you've said all that. So I thought it was a useful card. Now I realise it's for all the entire turn. That's
yes.
Fundamentally a salty tank unit. That is a very good card. Yeah.
Yep. Nowhere to hide. I mean, the other thing, here's the question. It's a build card for a unit. I can't remember. Did the rules limit those to 1? You can only put 1 build card on a unit?
Correct. You put 1 upgrade card on a unit.
It's not an upgrade, it's a build.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I think you're okay.
So you can have multiple,
And what else put on them?
more unditching logs. So you can
Bed
do it for
spring
2
armor.
turns.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on to Bedspring Armor. There's 2 Bedspring Armor cards. The first one's is for basically upgrading the tanks in the Berlin book, the T-34, any SU or ISU tank.
Yep.
1 point per 4 tanks, or part thereof. Basically get a 5 or 6 save against
Firepower.
get a 5+ save against 5 or 6 firepower weapons on the side.
So the important wording is you get, if you fail your armor save against a weapon with firepower 5 or 6 hitting its side armor, roll a die. On a roll of a 5 up, the hit is ignored. Otherwise, the hit affects the side armor as normal.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're going to say. Is a glancing save a fail? Yes, it is.
Well, no. So I think you just read a bit there. It says nothing about. Nope. No, I can see it now. Sorry to say that.
Yep. It says
fails the armor save.
So
yep.
if a glancing hit is a failed save, so therefore you get to use your bedspring armor.
Is a glancing a fail?
Yes, it is, because you've not passed, have you?
All right. Yeah, no, I can see it.
I think the same wording was in version 3. And I just think I remember this discussion coming around then, and everyone was like, "Oh yes, but you're only bailed." It's like, yeah, but you're going to kill me in assault. Why can't I use?
But yeah, it's as good as a failure at that point. Yeah,
it is a failure. So it was clarified in version 3. But yes, in this, I imagine you've not passed. You've you've got lesser effect. But anyway, you get a 5-up save, which is horrendous, especially if you've got bedspring armored IS-2s with unditching logs going at night attack. But
I mean, so obviously the IS-2s in the book get it as an actual unit up. It's actually an upgrade available in the actual unit description.
Yeah,
this is just so you can take all the T-34s and ISUs and give them the same thing.
Which apparently the T-34s are the only one that someone said they have evidence of. I think it was Martin.
Yeah.
Someone was saying there was no evidence they actually put them on IS-2s, but I love to be corrected. So
yeah, okay, that's an interesting one. Yeah. I mean, the other variant of the card is basically applying it to any T-34 unit from back Russian Soviet. And the reason you got it cards because normally you can't, apply cards to formation that's been bought from another book. But the only way of getting T-34s into this book, other than the forward attachment, is by using them as a support formation.
Yeah.
So that's why this card exists. Interestingly, there's no way of placing Bedspring armor on an early IS-2.
No, that's true.
Which seems to be up on the other side. I can't see why they wouldn't have done that.
Because the early IS-2, if I remember, this is reaching here. The early IS-2s were all replaced, I think, whereas the T-34s kept going until the end of the war. If that makes sense.
Okay. I struggling to see that the IS-2s have been replaced because it's just a slight hull change. I can see them existing alongside each other.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, but that is me clutching for barely half remembered.
Yeah. Now, like I say, to my mind, Bedspring armor is, you definitely take IS-2s. T-34s, I can see it on T-34s because you check. If you go assault with any tank in the Red Army, it isn't an IS-2, it's going to be a T-34 because there's lots of them.
Yep.
IS-2s and SUs seems a bit more of a stretch.
Well, the thing is, you either go... The hero IS-2s are a fallacy because you don't get anything in the rest of the army unless you're playing a ridiculous number of points. Especially once you put bedspring armor on them. T-34s with bedspring armor, you don't... if you go for the hero, you can actually get enough holes that it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And at that point, all you want to do is not get the 2 penetrating hits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it that way, you're going to lose 1 tank to Faust as you go in. But what you don't want is to lose 2 because then the assault stops.
Yeah, so I think I'm agreeing with you about T-34s. It's more I can't see why you'd want to put it onto ISUs or SUs.
I don't know because they shouldn't be anywhere near an assault.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it's insurance maybe, but
I understand. What you're saying now.
Yeah.
The other weird thing is because you've got that mixed unit within the Red Banner where you've got T-34s and ISU 152s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it costs you 2 points there rather than 1, even though there's only 4 vehicles.
I think because you're applying it to all the vehicles, and because that card says T-34s SUs or ISUs, it means that mixed unit would apply it to all 4 tanks.
For 1
Oh,
point.
so that's all right then.
Yeah.
Good.
And that
okay.
unit, right, Kat, actually think about it, that unit,
You want to put it
ISUs might, because that's really a city fighting unit, and in that kind of environment, probably a lot more useful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so that's probably why it's there, yeah, okay.
It's also to say this does obviously work in combat as well.
Yes, yeah.
Not
Side
just
armour, so yeah.
Yep, it's not just defensive fire. So if you get hit by a Faust in combat, you've got a 5-up save against it.
Okay, next up is mine rollers for the PT mine rollers for the T-34.
Rolling.
So you can only apply it to a 76mm tank.
Yeah.
My thought I hear is it only applies to a Hero T-34 tank company. So can you apply this card to a Bagration unit? Because any way it would work.
No.
There's no other other Hero T-34 tank company here. That's 76.
Oh.
I might be right. Just double checking. I thought the one in the forward attachment was just 85s. I might be wrong.
No, it's 1-on-1, isn't it?
Oh, I see it is. Yeah, it is a 76 one or mixed unit in there. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yeah, that does work. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that scenario, you could only upgrade the 76 mils to have the mine rollers.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit of a juggling act there.
As with most things, Soviet, because it might make it easy.
Yeah. But it just means that basically a tank team can clear a minefield. Is basically what it gives you.
Potentially powerful.
Yeah. RPG 6s are not unique, but they have been changed to a new book to basically say you can't take them if your unit has Panzerfaust.
Which is...
Yeah. Now, Panzerfaust are quite pricey. At usually a 3-point upgrade for the unit. Whereas this is a 1 point, but obviously you can't defensive fire with RPG 6s, which obviously is a big incentive.
Yeah.
So I think generally you're going to go for the Panzerfaust. But
I've run out of points when I've been making lists, and I've gone back to these because for a point it gives you some 80.
Yeah, I can certainly see the argument. Yeah,
the 3 just it's just a lot. I mean, I know it's limited too, but it is a big investment. And especially seeing as a lot of your troops are going to hit on 2s and 3s in assault, so it's quite reliable.
It's pretty
good. That was the big thing for me as well. Is it's actually quite. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's also the incentive to sometimes keep your head down. You remove.
It just means
the temptation.
It also means that you just eat any medium tanks. It's just horrible.
And most heavy tanks. I mean, the amount of times I'll play King Tiger to one of those things.
You put some bed frames on the side of your King Tiger, and then you're laughing.
Very so, yeah. If any Germans have worked out some sort of defence against shaped charged warheads. So.
I think we talked about this last time though, but I do like the fact that there is a difference between, well, not a difference, but it's not a no-brainer to take the Panzerfaust because it is that 3 points. I think if it's 2, you would just do it.
I think the argument for the points versus what you're getting is balanced exactly right. So no, it's something you have to think about which one you want to go with. That's for sure. Okay, so sappers, I just checked. These weren't in Bagration. These are a new unit.
That's correct.
So basically, upgrade a rifle company. Can't take heavy weapons, but you can cross minefields, safe on a roll 2+, and you can dig in on a roll 2+.
Just running across minefields like a lunatic.
Mm-hmm. I guess the incentive is you go into them and clear them, but you could just keep running through them.
Just run through them. Don't clear minefields, you've got to stop. You're a shark. If you stop, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
It is the can't take heavy weapons, though, which is a bit annoying. So no HMGs, no PTRs, no flamethrowers.
Yeah. I guess you apply it to just one unit in the battalion rather than have it all your units having it, but it was limited as well, so you can only have it on one unit in the battalion.
Correct. Yeah, and it's 2 points. So even if it wasn't, I think you'd be struggling to make the points work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, so you can see. So undercover smoke is obviously not new. Night attack, and if you have night attack, you must also take searchlights.
Oh boys!
So here we go. So night attack card for 4 points. If you're playing against defender with minefields, you can do a night attack. Units in the force can move freely from the start of the game, which is a big difference to how British do it, where only units in the formation can do it. So that's one
Right.
thing to consider.
Here's a question.
Yep.
So, night attack, standard night attack rules, it says units can only move. So, units in the formation can move outside deployment area, but it also says units can only move at cross-country dash speed.
Yeah.
However, this card states units in this force can move freely from the start of the game.
Yep.
Does that negate the cross-country dash
Yep.
limitation? Because that's a limitation, and this says they move freely.
I guess it does. Yeah.
That's thank you, Martin.
Now, the other side of that is the searchlights. So you have to take, if you do a night attack, you have to take these.
Yep.
At the start of the game, which the night fighting rules are employed, any team within 40 inches of the attacker's table edge can be targeted without rolling for night visibility.
Yep.
This illumination will last to a night fighting rules are no longer employed, i.e. dawn, or the player decides to turn them off at the beginning of their next starting step. Return the table to its normal state. So you've always got to have at least one term of these searchlights on, basically illuminating your guys.
Correct.
But when we're debating this, one of the things you noted is, yes, you don't range for night visibility, but you still have the +1 modifier for ranging in and shooting at teams. Nothing says that's negated. So that certainly made, when we're debating why you would take this card, that certainly made it more viable, because...
So it's an additional +1 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
If you've taken your 2-turn smoke bombardment,
Yep.
you drop that in. You run forward. You've already got pre-ranged in artillery because you're attacking. So you've got the objective that you put really close. You've got your artillery already ranged in, so they just repeat bombarding. You've run up under cover of smoke. I mean, the thing everyone sits there and goes about this is they go, "Oh yeah, but it's useless." It's like, well, what were you going to do if it was daytime? You're still, you know, if it was a daytime attack, you've not lost anything. You've actually got +1 to hit regardless. So you run forward, they shoot. You're under smoke bombardment, cover. You then on turn 2 go, right, you're in terrain, you're in an edge of wood or whatever. Don't care, I've got my ditching log, so I can re-roll my cross check because the cross checks are +1 as well with my tanks. I repeat bombard, pin your Panzerfaust. I now go in with the hero unit, so I'm hit on 4s. You're slow firing and pinned, that's 5s. It's nighttime, that's 6. Oh, and you're firing through smoke. Your defensive fire is now hit on 7s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and you're the defender, so you're I've avoided your pre-ranged in markers. So you want to range in on me? That's additional +1 to range in, mate. Sorry. Oh, you've only got green tubes because you're, playing late war rubbish lists. That's going to be a +1 to range in. So all of a sudden you need 6s to range in. It's really good.
So it's all right.
I mean, it's really good if it happens. The big caveat to this is the thing that obviously you're never going to, if you have this, it's like British infantry, you're never going to be attacking because the opponent will just go, oh, I'll pick attack or maneuver. So you'll never get to be the attack force in a minefield.
Yeah, and if you're sinking, was it 7 points, 6 points?
4.
Into night attack and under cover of smoke.
Oh yeah, sure, 6 points.
It's quite a lot.
However, as Phil Yates said on Facebook, it's really there so you can redo the attacks of Silo Heights.
Yeah, well, the searchlights were a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
But why does it have points then? If it's a scenario-based card, why does it not just have, like, why is it not just there for use in the scenario?
Because I guess if we're playing scenario, we would just ignore the points anyway. And this is just so if you want to take it to a tournament.
Because for the scenario, yeah, I mean, there's 2 ways of doing it. That then comes into scenario players. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can do you can do it narrative where you're outnumbered, so you're going to lose. So it's just about how long do I hold out before I die because you've got twice the number of tanks that they had in real life. Or you want some way to get it remotely right so that it is a close enough game. So 4 points in open play, useless. 4 points in an agreed, I'm the attacker. We're going to play this mission. You make your force, I make my force. Actually, that's not too bad. Because at that point, it does give me stuff, and I can plan around it because I know it's going to happen, as opposed to I need to get the right situation for this to work.
But why is it just not in the scenario?
Because it's for making up your own scenarios. It's just
Right.
a guide. It's a guide there so that you don't have to play, the set scenario with the set forces. You can go.
It's a waste of this and Lucky is a waste of 3 spaces in this deck for command cards.
No, I disagree. I think it's if I
Well, I
want
know
to
you do, but that's fine.
Knight,
I disagree
here's
with
the thing,
you.
Right?
So
If we would say, right, what is my knight attack? What would that be like if I wanted to do knight attack Soviet force versus defending Bulge Americans?
yeah.
This lets you do that. It's a bit of extra flexibility for your time.
So does the scenario. The scenario doesn't dictate which sides are on. It's just a scenario. You could take, I don't know.
But the scenario,
take
what you're
mid-war
saying is
Romanians.
this should be written into the scenario so that every force gets it.
No, I'm saying it should be written into the scenario in the back of the Berlin book.
But then how do you
in the
know
little mini
what Bennett? I don't get what you're saying.
So you take the copy that's on this,
Yeah.
and you put it into the Berlin book under one of the scenarios,
Right.
and you just say this has got night attack.
Right, but
and then you
that's
take the
giving the
searchlight
attacker a
passage.
benefit. They don't have to take 4 points less worth of stuff for this to happen.
Yes, because it's a scenario. Yes.
Okay.
I just don't see the point of it being in there. It just seems a complete waste. Because I just don't understand the point of it, and the whole thing about the searchlights, right? Okay, so yeah, it's that one specific occasion, but it's back to that one specific occasion again when they tried to blind the German defenders and it all went wrong.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Right. As long as it is in there and didn't cost another card, I'm not saying that being present is really an issue. It's just
exactly
not a card everyone's going to take.
So obviously,
This is it. So it's waste of space.
Yeah,
Get
but
rid of it.
according to you,
It's
Duncan, we
stupid.
wouldn't have any cards because we,
It should be the book. Which it absolutely should be. I disagree with Duncan on that one, but yes.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Okay,
No, because I'll defend the cards to the hilt because I think that the high point when we had the American stuff where we had all the infantry divisions as individual cards that you could apply to your rifle company.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Perfect. Yeah. And I'll defend my Mountaineers card for my 52nd Lowland Division until I'm blue in the face because it's absolutely junk and should never cost a point. But
well, that should be in the mission, surely.
It's there. Why?
I'm being facetious, mate.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No. I just...
It should be when you're attacking as a Mountaineer force, that should be in the mission.
But they might not be them.
Well, that's the whole point. That's why it's got points and it's got...
1 point. Okay.
Take a Dansky.
Yeah, these haven't changed since the bag ration card. Other than there's like a few tweaks on what units can take it. Cossack Regiment. Are these in bag ration?
No, these are mid-wars formations. Yes, tomorrow.
Right.
It's the same
Yesterday's technology tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's basically a variation
copy.
on a Red Banner Rifle Regiment. So all the units are taken from there, and then you effectively can apply the cavalry card to those units from that Red Banner Cossack Regiment, which turns into cavalry for 2 points.
Oh my god.
And then you have to turn the HMGs into the machine gun carts as well, and things like that, don't you?
Which are awesome little models. It's like an aimless drive-by. It's great.
Aimless drive-by.
It's a Maxim HMG in the back of like a little horse and cart.
No wonder they got banned at Aintree.
I think it's one of those units you're going to have to want to do. You have to like paint horses.
There's always been people who love Cossacks and will play them.
Can you still buy the dismounted figures, or is it just the mounted figures you can buy?
It's just the mounted ones they brought back.
Oh,
yeah, sadly.
sadly. So you have to have normal.
Oh, that's silly. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay,
Why
and
do you
next
ever
we get.
dismount?
Why would you want to dismount? That's exactly it. Well, holding ground occasionally is quite handy. You can't dig in with a horse, but
I beg to differ. I've seen the Grand National.
yeah. Oh, so you can use a horse as as an improvised barricade. Yeah, so.
Barricade.
Horses are surprisingly bulletproof. So next up is amphibious jeeps, which is different to amphibious transports because these are basically the Soviet equivalent of a Schwimmwagen team because it converts a team into a amphibious jeep. Duncan, your thoughts?
So this is just I genuinely find this perplexing because the amphibious transports are for the sappers only, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that model is a jeep. It's an amphibious jeep, I think, because it can
It's the
only
same
take
model
one,
as this, yeah.
Right.
and it's 1 point. And these are 3 points. Why are they 3 points for a scout platoon? What?
Because they have a tactical move.
Yeah, these get to basically still move and shoot. They get to still use their scout and spearhead whilst mounted because effectively they are the same team. Oh, they lose the scout rule, apologies, but they still get the spearhead. Your save goes down,
Yes.
but it's still better than the 5+ save you get on their amphibious transports.
Yep.
But are you really driving around in a soft skin with your scout platoon? The scout platoon's like 10 points.
Was this not giving you a much better thing for your spearhead?
Well,
I mean, the only
you can
you
shoot.
can, yeah, but you got a submachine gun.
Yeah, again, it's a very short range drive-by.
We really mean it.
I mean,
and you can't assault with them, so
it's going to do
they're
two
an
things.
unarmored
It's either going to give you that amphibious move across a water obstacle.
in a scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also in the river.
No, I know. I was being facetious.
Or it's going to give you that cross-country 20-inch dash for your spearhead. In a couple of occasions that might come up like bridgehead.
What you do, Duncan, right, is you get the big lake model, and you have a little island in the middle that is flat and is just big enough to put an objective marker on, and you put that in your opponent's deployment area, and then you put your objective on top of that. So they physically can't put enough models for a platoon on it without being in the impassable water. And then you take this card and you win the game.
I'd rather not play at that point, I think.
No, so the difference here between this and the Schwimmwagens, off the top of my head, Schwimmwagens, like the amphibious transports, do not have a tactical move.
They do not.
So you can't move within 8 inches of the enemy. If you are assaulted in a Schwimmwagen or an assault amphibious transport,
you die.
You die if you have to break off. Bearing in mind, you have to actually be forced to break off, so you could make the motivation or whatever. These do not. These they have to break off from assault, but they have a 10-inch tactical move to do so. That's why I think they're 3 points. But they treat impassable water as difficult terrain.
But the other thing is, it doesn't say that you can dismount.
At the start of any movement step.
Oh, yeah, sorry, they can so it can.
So here's the interesting thing I realised about this. It's the start of any movement step. So you can cross-country dash, across the water, get right up there, and then if the enemy, if you is about at the start of their movement step, you can dismount.
Yeah.
So you can always get the dash up and then just become infantry blobs.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the whole thing with like if you're doing the river crossing missions from the whatever is it Bagration campaign pack, then yeah, you could probably spearhead across the river. Oh no,
it's not even the river. It's more. I mean, obviously you need to do a 4-up cross to go across water. If impassable terrain becomes difficult terrain, it's a 4-up cross. The other thing, I mean, it gives you're giving your scout platoon a 20-inch dash.
Okay, and
or a 48-inch road dash.
Or you can just take 2 points of BA 64s.
Yeah, but they can't then become infantry and run into a building.
Yeah, But they can spearhead. So why don't you just deploy your infantry off the spearhead?
Because you can't spear. So here's the thing: you can't spearhead within 16 inches of the deployment zone, whereas these guys can deploy even if there's no spearhead allowed.
Yeah.
Then do a road dash your turn 1, start the opponent's turn back into your infantry.
These are awful.
I think they're quite situational.
No, they're awful.
I think there's stuff there you can do.
No, there's not. These are absolute jank and
Jank.
They're awful, just awful. I cannot understand. And also, what makes it even more egregious is they come in a pack of 3.
I mean, that's unforgivable.
So you can't.
You need
is
the scout platoon hit on 4s?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's even better.
Why?
Because you cross country dash 20, follow me into terrain, admittedly 4 up, not 190, but you cross country dash into concealment from most things that can shoot you, and then start your opponent's turn into hit on 4s, scout, gone to ground infantry, hit on 6s, and then just run up. I'm liking this.
No.
There's some boards
you can
where
drop.
This would have really helped.
You can drop 40 quid on them then, because I'm not.
That's okay. Universe Carriers hasn't changed, having it's for hero armored recce platoons.
Rotovizatsky.
Same with the Su-76M. It's a hero variant of the normal Su-60M artillery regiment.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are So in the Berlin, but these guys are now veterans, being get like 3 of them in the unit. Su-57 light self-propelled artillery regiment is, you really have to want to do this, but hey, there's a card for it at least. But it's 2 to 4 units of Su-57s, plus a HQ Su-57 and SMG company as its formation.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's,
yes. Cool.
Basically a car to downgrade, or not downgrade, but swap out the M17 ZSU for a Dushka AA and machine gun truck.
Gotta love the Dushkas.
Using the bag ration card. So some people like they got the model for it.
Yeah, namely me.
BM3112 Katusha, the heavy Katusha. 3 shots, use them wisely. Oh, you only skill 4+.
Oh, I can't believe the cost of these.
Yeah, so that was something that recently on the Facebook, was that there. It says all Katusha Guard rocket batteries in this force have the following characteristics: with plus 10 points for 4 teams, or plus 5 points for 2 teams. The plus is important. It means you effectively buy the Katusha and then add 10 points to upgrade
4 Katushas for 8 points.
So it's an 18-point unit for 3 shots of a firepower-free salvo.
And a skill 4+.
Yeah.
The range of 48 as well. I can't remember what the normal Katusha range is. Isn't that less? Used to be.
Feels a little pricey.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's because they're armoured as well.
Are they armoured?
Nope.
No.
Does it not say armoured?
No.
But they're
soft
skins. But they are armoured.
Nope. They have the following characteristics. It just changes the weapon. They're still Katushas.
Right, now look at the model.
Yep. No,
it's armoured.
Is it? Is it really? I just remember being a truck. It's like
it says armoured as the armoured half tracks for the Germans. It's got the armoured cap.
No, it's not, because it's just a blast shield.
This is a blast shield over the windscreen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's just to stop the glass blowing out every time
The original Katushas have it as well.
So this isn't.
So you're trained. You're hit on 3s.
This is awful.
The 5-up tank save. Yeah, and so you're for 8 points. You reduce your range from 64 to 48. You add 1 to your firepower, and you add 1 to your anti-tank rating, and you can only fire 3 times, and that is worth 10 points.
It's because I imagine it's because it's a salvo weapon.
It doesn't. Yeah, that's even worse because the standoff distances.
Oh no! I'm not saying. I'm just thinking it's probably the equation. The salvo's throwing it out.
Or you can just take another platoon of Katushas and have 8 Katushas firing every turn for the entire game.
Yeah, I might take that over.
Yeah,
3 shots.
Yeah, I think so.
Why is this 10 points? Surely that's a typo. That should be just 10 points instead of 8 points.
No.
So it's a 2-point
No.
upgrade. Because in the German one, the you're swapping out with the Nebelwerfers.
Yeah, the 21 centimetre nebs. That's a good point.
Yeah, aren't they 3 or something, or a point or
No,
something?
Oh,
Or is it 3?
because I keep wanting
It's not
to
a
take
lot.
them. Are they in decoration?
But there's
or
the
D-Day?
21s, and then there's the... What's the next one up from that?
The
30?
30, I want to say.
The 30's the one that only fires 3 times. The 21s are just a bigger rocket.
That's what she said. They're not in D-Day, are they? They're in...
They are in Bagration,
Bulge.
I believe. Is it Bulge?
I don't know.
I think it's Bagration.
It must be in Bulge, right?
You look in Bulge, I'll look in Bagration. I'm sure that they're pretty cheap to upgrade.
I mean, they're more expensive to start with because of skill 3+. Right, 21 centimetre nebel.
Well, 9 points.
So, 21 centimetre Nebelwerfers. So you upgrade your 15 centimetre battery for a pointer gun.
Yeah, it's the same for the 30 centimeters as a pointer gun.
So you go range 72 salvo with a 3-up firepower.
Yeah, the 30s are salvo 56, 83 firepower 2+, so they're better.
Yep.
And they only fire 3 times.
You lose smoke from a normal neb. And a 15 centimetre Nebelwerf battery.
Why are these 10 points?
3 for 9 points.
Yes, it's 12 points, not 18 points.
Wow. So no one's going to take these then. Excellent. Moving on.
No.
Well done, Battlefront.
And speaking of cars that no one's going to take, Red Banner Colour Party.
Yeah, it's 5 points. If you end the game with the banner team who influences the objective, you get 1 extra victory point. Your opponent loses 1 victory point, which seems a hell of a thing to engineer. And if you lose, you basically lose 1 extra victory point and your opponent gains 1 additional victory point.
Yeah. So if you lose for any reason.
Yeah. One small upside is it always counts a larger unit for number of hits required to be pinned.
Okay.
And it has a save?
No, it's no save. It's just that's it. It's only soft benefit. It's basically always counts a large unit.
I'm trying to... Does it not jump?
No.
It's the unit leader.
Oh, it's the unit leader. Yeah, it's the unit leader.
Yeah.
So basically, you've got to kill the whole platoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the thing that annoys me about this is that the victory points matter in anything but a competitive game. You either win or you lose, right?
Correct.
So this only engineered for a tournament play experience.
Yeah.
And it's 5 points. Sorry, it's 5 points. Right, okay.
Yeah, I disagree with what your initial assessment was. I can't see anyone taking it.
It's just pointless. You've got to. So you have to get the bonus. You have to hold the objective with that unit leader.
Oh boys!
So yeah, you could 9-0 someone. Okay.
What about to ETC this stuff?
Go on then. I'm prepared to be uninspired.
Oh my god. Okay, right. So the wording of the card. If you take and hold an objective and win the game with the red banner colour party unit leader within 4 inches of that objective, you gain 1 additional victory point and your opponent loses 1 additional victory point, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. Holding objectives. You are holding an objective if you start your turn with a tank, infantry, or gun team within 4 inches of an objective and end it with no opposing tank, infantry, or gun teams within 4 inches of that objective. Objectives cannot be held by tank teams that are bowed out, aircraft, transport, independence teams, nor can these teams prevent an objective. If you move it dash, you can't prevent an objective, right? Okay, excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, nowhere does it say that the objective you capture and take and hold has to be the one that wins you the game.
No.
So I stick my red banner team on an objective in my deployment area. Well, I'm capturing and holding that objective. I've met the criteria there. I've killed you.
If you take and hold an objective,
keep reading it. An objective.
And win the game with the red banner within 4 inches of that objective.
Doesn't say I
That's
have to win the
objective.
game by capturing that objective.
And
It's
win
implied.
the game with the red banner within 4 inches of that objective.
Yep, but I'm taking
It's taking
holding.
hold.
So I'm taking holding the one in my terrain, in my deployment area. I've killed you with a company break, and I've therefore won the game. I have my red banner leader within 4 inches of my objective that he is holding quite happily in my half.
No, it says that objective, right?
Yes, but it doesn't specify you have to win the game by capturing that objective. It just says take and hold an objective. Okay.
Tell you what, Eddie, I'll give you 8 inches.
I think the inference there is strongly that is exactly what you're supposed to say.
Inference is, but
that's why I said it's ETC. It's how it's written, not what the inference. There isn't the inference is. Yes, you have to win the game.
No, because your clause doesn't work then, does it?
No, it does.
As a sentence, no, it doesn't.
It does.
Right, so what's that objective?
Right, so there is an objective in my deployment area. The holding objectives rule does not state anything about it being, it has to be the opponent's objective.
But it's not a subclause. There's no comma. So if you're reading it like there's a
take
comma,
and hold an objective. Okay.
Yes, comma and win the game. But it doesn't say comma and win the game. It says and win the game.
It doesn't say and win the game by holding that objective.
But I agree with Duncan. There's no comma to make this two separate parameters. It's you win the game by taking and holding the objective.
Yeah,
that's the and is doing a lot of lifting in that sentence.
It is. I know.
But, okay. Well, to be fair, you're one going to TTC, so have fun with that. It's mid-war this year, so it doesn't matter. Right, my taxi's not getting any later. Let's be.
All right, move on. Sorry, boy.
Yep.
That's all right. So Dimitri Loser, I don't know. Basically, you can take a unit leader card for a Sherman unit, and you come spearhead, and you get a halt rate of fire. Oh, sorry, use its halt rate of fire if it moves less than 6 inches in the movement step.
So it's like he's got easy ride.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But slightly better because it moves less than 6 inches.
Oh yeah. It's 6 rather than 4. Yeah, he's an easy 8 with spearhead for 5 points extra.
That's a better 5 points than the red banner card, that's for sure. But
absolutely. I mean, in the steaming hall of turd flames, that is slightly above the previous card. I would agree.
Right, but would you take him, or for 4 points, so 1 point less, take Pavel Voronin, who again applies as a unit leader for a Sherman unit, can re-roll failed skill or tactics test to make a blitz movement roller, and the unit leader may re-roll all failed rolls to hit each time he shoots his 76mm gun.
Yeah, I'm probably taking that one because he's going to fire twice because he's blitzing all over the place.
But are you taking the 76mm Sherman at a point? If so, why? Why are you taking the 76? It's like the other guy at least goes on 85, which is far more useful. It's like
no, it's a Sherman though, isn't it? 76.
No, so the first card, any M4 Sherman late, so 85, they're 76, or M4 Sherman 76mm unit. Oh, sorry, no, I see what you're saying. It's not a 75, it's 76. Yeah, ignore me. I'm thinking about T-34s, that's why.
That's all right. And I was going to say, this is also on a unit, so you can, if the unit leader dies, you've got a chance of jumping him into another tank and continue on slamming people with your...
Yeah, like saying normally, I was thinking 85mm as being the bigger gun, but of course on Shermans it's 75 and 76, so I'm just getting tired. I feel like the 4 points here is a lot more useful than the 5 points on the other guy.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I could take that and take Spearhead off a BA-64 unit or something.
Yeah, Spearhead is somewhat over-exaggerated, I think, in terms of its importance.
Okay, Vladimir Gopond. So IS-2 lates. Unit leader's tank passes remounts to 2+. The unit leader may reroll all fair rolls to hit each time he shoots his 122mm gun for 6 points. Well, you never fire 122, so that's no much point.
It just means you get to reroll every time you fire because you're going to miss. Because it's slow firing and you only get one shot a turn, so he's going to shoot a maximum of 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 6 points. Wow. Oh, hold on. Speaking of points,
Next guy. So he's what? Next guy.
Yeah.
Zarif Almukambabov. Again, here at IS2s, reroll failed to hit rolls each time he shoots 1 to 2, and does not suffer the +1 to hit penalty for slow firing. So firing his gun's actually viable, but 7 points to do it.
And it's a unit leader, right, in a company.
Yeah.
Wow. Does that mean you can move and fire without the slow firing penalty?
That's exactly what it says, yeah. Does not suffer the +1 penalty for slow firing.
But the rest of his platoon does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if that was 5 points, I might say, 7 points just feels very steep.
Well, it's their hero IS2 lates, aren't they? So they're already...
Quite pricey, yeah.
Like 11 points a tank, I think it is. So 3 of them plus this card is your reserve. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next, please.
Well, next up is Pyotr Vasilevsky, who is a unit leader for a Red Banner Storm group. Makes that unit fearless, 3+, which I think it already is. Rally on 2+, counterattack on 2+ for 4 points.
I've been eyeing this man.
It's not Tinder.
I have swiped right.
Swipe right.
Big unit, throw it in. It's going to keep going to its burger on 2+.
Well, the Storm group also, they hit on 3s anyway, and I think they rally on 3, so it essentially bumps them up 1 on those.
It makes it like an SS Tiger.
Well, yeah, and it's the stats you really want with that unit. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to keep them up and moving, and you want to also make sure they stay in the fight. They've got a lot of assaulty stuff. It just makes them that little bit more expensive. They're already expensive anyway. So.
Yeah. All right, and I'll pair him up with a formation HQ of Dmitry Babanov for 3 points. And that unit leader from this formation is within 8 inches and in line of sight of the formation commander. Unit passes rally test on 2+. I don't need to because obviously that unit's already.
So this is pattern. This is pattern for the Soviets.
Yes, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the reroll for reserves.
Because it's the whole formation, but it's only valid for the Red Banner Rifle Regiment.
It has to be the Red Banner. Yeah. It's pretty good.
So do you take 1 unit for 4 points that also has 2+ counterattack? Or 1 unit, but you got to keep it in line of sight of the formation as well, which is
it's the line of sight, it's the suck
and the
there.
range, yeah. I think the 4 points for the unit commanders are much better. Bet.
I think these two, I think they're potentially interchangeable because also the Red Banner rifles are a bit cheaper and you probably want at least 1 or 2 of them in the Storm group.
Yeah.
So it might be that actually he's useful to keep those guys going. Yeah, because it doesn't pass on to the formation support either, does it? Because
it's just
I don't think does Patton do that? No, he just gives him a reroll, doesn't he? Or does it? Can't remember what Patton does now. Anyway, it's 3 points.
2+ with the reroll.
Yeah, I think it's all right for 3 points. I think it's not unfairly costed. That's it.
That's it. That's your lot. Like I say, it's not the most exciting bunch of command.
No, but I don't know what we were. At the same time, I don't know what I was expecting.
No, I guess there wasn't much that was going to be cool. Unless they had some IS3 card go in there or something. But
there was. I wonder if the things like the street. I presume the street barricades and stuff like that are going to be in German.
Yeah.
They would be. Seeing as they would be in the defensive guys.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I think we see an indication the Panther turret's going to be in there. So.
Ooh, fun.
The good old Panther term. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're missing anything because I don't think there was tremendously.
You got 5 of those. I got like at least 10 of them. It's called taking your Panther turrets off and put it on the table.
No, I've got the little resin base. Thank you very much.
He's going to slip cast.
Yeah.
Turn out some more.
Yep. Not terrible. I mean,
Not great, not terrible. Only 4.5.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly. I don't know. I found it a bit uninspiring because I know the Soviets are harder to do because their units aren't probably as lauded as some of the Western allies.
no, correct.
To make those, distinctive divisional cards or things like that. But I don't know if they feel a bit. They also feel really expensive. Some of them feel like really costly. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see it on the tabletop.
We'll see how they
it's the
pit
same as
against
everything.
the Berlin German lists
Mm-hmm.
and see if they are terrible or if they do work.
I Red Banner Storm group. Yeah, I'm looking at those. I'm looking at them. Red Banner Rifles. I think they're probably the standout list for me, with all the bells and whistles as well, and accoutrement.
All right,
Okay.
events.
Let's blitz through this. 4th and 5th of March, Winter War 2023. Finnish Flames of War Nationals in Katanal, Sorntinratentan, Helsinki. Finland website, Facebook book. It's going to be mid-war, 100 points for the dynamic points, 40 players. Contact FOW Events Finland at gmail.com. Adepticon, Schlahamburg, Illinois. It's 120 miles to Chicago. We've got a full tank of gas, half pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Thursday, March 23rd is mid-war, 100 points, dynamic. And then Friday and Saturday, it's Team Yankee, 115 points, Adepticon. Salute Wargame Show, 22nd of April at the Excel Centre in London. April 29th and 30th is Bun in Grad. Battlefield Hobbies, 101 points, mid-war dynamic. 101 points because it gets you an extra minefield and makes your reserves 41 points, which is really annoying. But I digress. May 14th, Canadian Tabletop Championship. Team Yankee and Flames of War event in Ontario.
I think Team Yankee's going to win. You bought a £6. Poof. My IFVs can stop that, let alone my tanks.
It's more, I nearly called it Team W word. I stopped myself at the last minute. May 21st, Gameology, Pasadena, Mid-War, USA, 95-point tournament. The 4th, 5th, and 6th of August, ETC Mid-War. 23rd and 24th of September is the Flames of War Nationals at Battlefield Hobbies in Daventry. Currently mid-war. Breaking news, may change to late war. We will see. It's mid-war at the moment. Watch this space. 11th and 12th of November is Warfare Reading at Farnborough, which is going to be late war again to make it different from all this ETC nonsense.
We don't know how many points yet, do we?
Don't know how many points yet. The tickets aren't available yet. End of April is when they normally go up, and that's when they normally announce what the points limits and formation stuff will be. Shall we scoot and shoot?
We shall. I'd like to get some sleep.
Yes, like all 20 minutes of it.
Right, so what are we going to be? Are we going to be... What is it? We can re-roll our blitz with their 75... Was it 75mm Sherman, wasn't it?
I think we should be trained.
Yes, it was.
And we should just make our own luck and be a 4+ and pass.
There you are. Yeah, I'll go with that.
There we go. Right, we passed. Nice. The Armoured Train Regular Podcast you've been listening to is Shoot Scoot, the Flames of War podcast, and the team at Break to Assault at UK. It's really by support from Valuable Hobbies, Dice of War, Frontline Terrain, and Mark didn't really read Corrivalry. It was all fixed because he was running it.
I just feel a bit sorry for Darren who's going to have all his stats on the Shoot and Scoot all thrown off now because he just used a card.
Come on, card.
Do I count this as a win? Do I not count it at all? What's going on?
We passed. I'm just saying.
You have to use the asterisk.
Yes, it's going to
use the asterisk.
Okay, all right. I think I'm about ready. If we're ready.
Okay. I need a hairdryer, but I probably won't be using that during the podcast.
I mean, at least do me the common courtesy of muting your microphone first. Trying to fucking edit out Duncan. Yeah, no, it's really good. I really enjoyed the game.
If you're interested, you can get about half a pint of water into a company of Nimrods into the turret.
Occupied Nimrod.